Hey everybody, welcome to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. You've made it. Another wonderful day. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to get started in just about a minute, but a big old congratulations to Tower over on Twitch for first comment of the day. Good job, Tower. All right, everybody. Remember, head on over to CanaryCry.Party. You can find all the links. You need to follow us in other locations. That is essential, but even more essential, we do have the Canary Cry Clips YouTube channel over on the YouTube. So, hey, if you're on YouTube, even if you're on Twitch, wherever you're watching the show, head on over to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube. 175-ish of you have followed since last episode. We're very grateful for that. And people are loving the clips, man. It's perfect. So if you want more bite-sized segments of the show, search for Canary Cry Clips on YouTube. Follow it and go ahead and like all the videos. That'll help us out quite a bit. The quality of the clips is going to go higher as we've figured out just a new way to do it, but it's an excellent place to go, catch individual segments of the show if you need to go back and re-listen to something, and they're very shareable. So go share those videos with people who are intimidated by checking out a podcast that's 4 hours long. Okay, Canary Cry Clips, go do that now. Also, for those Canary Cry Bingo listeners, go to CanaryCryBingo.com. There are 10 new randomized bingo cards available in the 5x5 format. So go play those. That's fun. Now everybody can play their own bingo card. Go check out Canary Cry Bingo. And if you haven't gotten into that yet, you really should. It's been really fun. Okay, other than that, folks, you know the deal. Let's get this party started. Stay hydrated. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live to tape today, January 24th, 2022. This is episode 437. And today is the CYBERUSKIE attack, baby. And razzle dazzle, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a year older now. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, 1 year closer to the promise.
Yeah, sure. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And thank you to all the people who blessed me with the happy birthday, either message or note, gift. I appreciated all of it. Oh, the producers from last episode. And then the actual birthday, Saturday. Went to my daughter's friend's birthday party. And somehow it was, 4-year-olds, they don't have a filter. So my daughter was like, oh, it's my dad's birthday too. So now all the parents are like, oh, it's your birthday today? It's like, yes. And they're like, oh, well, happy birthday. And they gave me a big piece of cake.
That's very nice of them.
Yeah, it was nice. Although it was strange to be around people I have, a bunch of people I don't know. And just hanging out, chasing babies. It was fun, good time. And then hung out with family afterwards. So, it was a good time, but it was still strange. Like all the parents were kind of like, you're here though on your birthday? So I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I?
39 years old. This is what I do for my birthday now.
This isn't. I'm not an adventure man like Basil.
Yeah. Well, Gonz, speaking of adventure man, I also celebrated your birthday in a very special way.
Great.
Around my own area here, I went ahead and went roller skating again.
Oh, good.
I think it might be my new thing, man.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. I didn't hurt myself this time, so that was nice. Feeling the freedom. Nothing feels more free than having some wheels strapped to your feet and just gliding around in circles.
All I'll say is
it will kill.
Just be careful.
It may kill. It may kill. But hey, if you're out there, folks, and you got a roller skating rink around you, go try that out. It is a fun way to pass a couple of hours.
Sure. Well, I guess we're back here. It's a Monday.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
And we'd like to start off the show today by letting everybody know that Total Wrong Think from Twitch sent us a note with a photo.
Oh, yes. This was awesome.
And, oh my gosh, I thought I had the photo ready here.
Shout out to Total Wrong Think over on Twitch. I don't know if they're in the chat today, but we thought this was a fun way to start out the show. And maybe we'll put this on the Instagram or something today so people can check it out.
Yeah, he sent a note. He says, hey guys, I just adopted these 2 skinny pigs, hairless guinea pigs today. And the lady I adopted them from said that I could rename them. So I thought I would make Basil's dream of having a pet named after him come true. And I also liked the idea of naming them after my 2 favorite podcasters. So I'd like you guys to meet Basil and Gonz, the guinea pigs. Love you guys and God bless you.
These are naked guinea pigs. I've never seen naked guinea pigs before. They look like some sort of fantasy creature on some faraway Star Wars planet or something.
It's true. They got like weird fur. They have like facial hair.
No, they're totally naked except for their face is furry. So very cute. And yes, thank you very much. And we put the call out there to anybody who is looking for an excellent name for their pets. Basil and or Gonz are an excellent choice. And if you do name your pets after us, of course, we'll feature it on the show because it brings warmth to our hearts and fuzzies to the show. So we appreciate it very much. And welcome to the family, Basil and Gonz, naked guinea pigs.
I don't know what that will do to the lore of Canary Cry, but hopefully it's nothing too invasive.
Yeah. Well, it almost certainly will be, especially since you just mentioned it. One thing I forgot to mention at the roller skating rink: no masks, no mask. It is a maskless haven.
Is it indoors?
Indoors.
Oh my! You're just circling virus. It's a stew.
They, it gets hot in there, so they open up all this. Very well ventilated. Okay. But yeah, so for those who are, I don't know if every roller skating rink around the country is going to have that same policy, but they are very excited to tell you when you walk in, you don't have to wear your mask.
The one thing that the Faucis and all the politicians and doctors have said or haven't said that actually cures COVID?
No.
Speed.
Yes.
Cures COVID.
Yeah, not the street form of methamphetamine.
No. Get your head out of the gutter, sir.
Well, I'm just saying, when you say speed, some people, there's many different things. But yes, speed, adrenaline,
moving,
competition,
fast, yes,
exercise,
air. It's
good for you.
Okay. Real quick, are you going to mention the bingo here?
I already mentioned it in the pre-show. Oh, yeah, but this is the actual show. CanaryCry.Bingo.com. Go check it out. We have 10 more variations of the Canary Cry Bingo card on a 5x5 format. So you can play the 7x7 if you're an expert, or there are 10 variations of Miss G Beauty's 5x5 card Go check it out. Get yourself one of these bingo cards and play along. There's a nice little community evolving around this Canary Cry bingo game, which I'm very excited about. CanaryCry.Bingo.com. Go grab a card and play along at home.
That's a bingo.
Yes, we got it. We got the ISO.
We will be thanking the producer who gave us that later on. Okay, so over the weekend, Basil, I don't know about you, but I watched on Sunday, watched a little bit of Sportsball.
I'm watching a Sports did good. Ooh, did the ball go?
It's fun, Sportsball.
Did the ball go?
Did the ball go? Football. I don't really watch football anymore, but everybody was buzzing about the games yesterday, and especially the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's the playoffs right now, so they're the winners keep moving on towards the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs beat the Bills in overtime, and it was a really, really entertaining game. Some people said it was like the best game we've ever seen, or best game we've seen in a long time. Well, according to the Arrowhead Report, that's at SI Chiefs, down the stretch of the Chiefs' clutch OT win against the Bills, Patrick Mahomes was a man possessed.
Ooh.
After the game, head coach Andy Reid said his message to his quarterback on how to handle the legacy comeback was simple: be the Grim Reaper.
That's some real sports ball talk, Gonz.
Well, it's one of those things. I feel really bad for Buffalo Bills fans because I don't know. You probably don't know any sports ball history, Basil.
No, I don't. But I will mention, just while we're here, I was at a restaurant, like a sports restaurant.
Sports ball restaurant.
Yeah, sports ball restaurant last night, having a time out on the town. And man, it was a rowdy crowd in there as the Bills versus Chiefs game was playing.
Oh, so did you watch the end of it?
I didn't really pay attention, but I was eating some chicken wings, and the entire place erupted in complete chaos. And I knew something had happened, and I just kind of felt left out, so I just started screaming. I just started screaming into the restaurant.
I like the idea of a Basil screaming with the crowd, but not knowing why in the sports ball game.
Something just came over me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten to scream in public in a while. Let's do this.
That is very funny. So
it was a good time.
When I was growing up as a young lad, I think I must have been, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there, young, impressionable child, preteen.
Mm-hmm.
And the Buffalo Bills went to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row, and they lost every single time for 4 years in a row. They went to the Super Bowl, and Jim Kelly, it was a whole thing. And so I remember rooting for the Bills every year, every year for 4 years, and being disappointed. And
it's like an underdog.
It's an underdog type of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And so for the Bills to lose in the way they lost yesterday to the Chiefs, just heartbreaking. I would say a curse, perhaps, upon this team. Anyway, the basic thing here, besides the whole sports ball story here, Andy Reid on his message. Andy Reid is the coach of the Chiefs. On his message to Patrick Mahomes, who's the quarterback, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper. And the reason why is because he was they went back and forth at the end. The Bills had gone up, scored a touchdown with 13 seconds left, and Patrick Mahomes got the Chiefs into I think field goal territory to tie the game, and then in overtime they won the game. But it says here ultimately it was Mahomes' Chiefs that came out winning on the winning side. Mahomes, who completed 33 of his 44 pass attempts.
Wow.
Finished the game with 378 passing yards and a trio of touchdowns through the air. Also ran the ball for 69 yards. And the coach said, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper and go get it. And he did that.
Wow.
So there you go. For a man possessed, he turned into the Grim Reaper, and he also completed 33 out of 44 passes.
Interesting. I wonder. What do you think? Do you think that there's like, when it comes to these types of games, especially the big one, do you believe? I mean, of course we can speculate, but do you believe that there's such talent in these athletes that they are able to perfectly play the game in order to signal for their
I don't
Illuminati
think the players,
overlords, or is that just coincidence?
I don't necessarily think the players are conscious per se of what they're doing out there or what numbers they hit. But I certainly think that the people that are behind the scenes may not even be owners or, just people, shareholders or something. There might be some among those ranks who do rituals or voodoo or some kind of thing going on. Yeah, I mean,
there's always the sports ball superstition.
Right, right.
You're right.
But that's one side of it. And, if it's not a conscious decision for these numbers to pop up, it's certainly a spiritual sort of imprint as to maybe a giveaway for people like us paying attention.
Yeah, a good way to describe it. Imprint. It doesn't need to be the machinations of man. It could be the just the patterns that make themselves manifest through the different occultic whatevers. And just to put everybody's mind at ease, no, I was not at Hooters. I would never attend is such a chain, a corporate monstrosity such as Hooters. I only go to small batch handcrafted sports.
Oh boy, there's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm not going to go there right now.
Locally owned and small business, baby. That's where it's at. Okay.
All right, I'm going to mute myself. Okay, one more quick thing before we head into the show here. Bitcoin, go to moon. Yeah, right. Bitcoin, go to moon. Bitcoin has crashed even more here. $130 billion.
Stop using the word crash. This propaganda is calling it a crash.
It's a pullback.
You're playing into the mainstream hedge fund bros propaganda.
Okay, well, CNBC published at 6:33 a.m.
Good timing.
$130 billion wiped off crypto markets in 24 hours as Bitcoin Ether dropped to multi-month lows. I'm not going to read the article here, but on Monday, Bitcoin fell to as low as $32,982. Very close to that $33,000 mark.
So close.
Seems to be a rock hard bottom there, that 33,000. And one of the things that's funny, when you look at the chart, the Bitcoin chart for the last year, it makes kind of like there's a double top and we're forming that second bottom. And I don't know if you are in touch with the crypto meme culture, Basil.
Crypto talk, folks. Buckle in, crypto talk.
But getting a job at McDonald's is a common meme. Anytime there's a big dump day, all the crypto influencers come out and they take pictures of their McDonald's hats or, put their McDonald's application on Twitter and stuff like. It's a joke. I'm out of money. I got to go to McDonald's. Well, the chart for Bitcoin in the last year forms the giant golden arches. It is a giant M.
Oh, that's funny.
And we're at the bottom of the M. So maybe we're done with the dump. But also, this made me think because, there's a lot of news that comes out about crypto every single day, and a lot of it is manipulated news. And it's the same thing. It's propaganda for whales and people that manipulate the market. Back in October, this is information we knew for years, but back in October, for whatever reason, we had the news hit that George Soros' fund holds Bitcoin. CEO says cryptocurrency has gone mainstream. And I remember the story because it was like, everybody that pays attention was like, yeah, we knew this already. Why are they telling us? And it's almost like the Soros signal went out. This is the big manipulation. We're going to have another top here because it was after October. We had another peak with the markets, and then everything just started crashing. It's been about 110 days since this article came out, and we're obviously way back, down 50% to where we were. I think someone like Soros can easily manipulate the markets here, and this is somebody that's not being talked about at all in the crypto world. And everyone's just talking about, oh, it's a bear market, it's whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Woe is me because, lost so much money or whatever. But if we're paying attention to the players and because there's no law right now against market manipulation, and they get away with it in the regular stock market. Of course, they're going to get away with it in the crypto markets. So I'm not saying I have proof that George Soros is behind the stump, but it's individuals like Soros. It's amongst that class of individuals who I think are manipulating prices, and I guess they're allowed to because there's no regulation surrounding it. But just hodl on, everybody that's got Bitcoin out there.
Bitcoin's on sale.
Now's a great time to get in.
All right.
Not financial advice.
You know who might be pulling the levers, Gonz?
Could it be Flippy?
It's Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, folks, if you're new to the show, Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, this story is coming from BostonGlobe.com, and the headline, How the Boston Dynamics Robot Spot Became One Artist's Muse, then her assistant. And it goes like this. Maybe you've seen Boston Dynamics robot Spot dance, climb stairs, and screen hospital patients for COVID-19. Now, with one human's help, a bright, yellow, dog-like robot created by the Waltham Company is an artist, too. Agnieszka Pilat, the guest artist in residence at robotics company Boston Dynamics, has been painting portraits of Spot and the company's other advanced robots since the fall of 2020. Good gig for an artist here. You get to go just paint robots all day at Boston Dynamics. And she got this job right in the middle of the pandemic.
All you got to say is, hey, I want to turn my art into NFTs. And they'll go, oh, you're hired.
Oh, we'll get there. But for a number of paintings, as well as an upcoming NFT project, she has enlisted Spot. She's enlisted Spot as a co-artist of sorts. Pilat places an oil stick in its paws, as she calls it, and uses a control panel to manually guide the dexterous machine around the canvas. The manual process is partly because she believes the design and the authorship should stay with me. Ooh. Oh, the classic human hubris, wanting to take credit for the robot's art. But she also loves the crude style that emerges from the machine's inexpert brushstrokes. Quote, the robot is definitely my protege, said Pilat, 48, who splits her time between New York and San Francisco. This might sound like a sci-fi plot, but to Pilat, depicting a robot in her art is no different than Warhol screen printing Marilyn Monroe. Quote, portraiture reflects the power in society, said Pilat, because today more and more of the power is with technology. To be a really meaningful portrait painter, I thought, I have to paint portraits of machines. And we have a wonderful insight. It sounds like Pilat understands the same things we understand here, Gonz. And she makes a good point, because through the history of art, painting a portrait was, it's different now, but the history of art is if you were getting a portrait painted of you, it meant you were really important. You were, in some sort of social standing that made you right, worth painting, or you had the money to get a portrait painted of you. Either case is really a status symbol. And this phrase of hers, portraiture reflects the power in society. And this is why she decided, well, looks like machines have the power, so I'm just going to make portraits of machines. Pilat, who is trained as a classical painter at the Academy of Art of University in San Francisco, isn't employed by Boston Dynamics. She simply asked the historically secretive company if she could come in and use the robots for artistic inspiration. Boston Dynamics agreed, and later she was given a studio space.
Basil. Basil.
Yeah.
This is how you get in.
You're getting it. You're understanding.
You need to tell these robotics companies that you have an art project.
I have an art project. Yeah. I'm here. I need access.
You need access to express.
Yeah, we'll have to. I'm sure Boston Dynamics got some sort of ownership in these paintings, but so I need a product that they can take ownership of. Let's see here. I need to go down. Okay. Her bright color palette and graceful depictions convey compassion for her subject, sentient or not. Pilat said she feels a protective instinct toward newfangled technology, such as robot, which some people fear. Quote, I kind of want to be the defender of it, she said, adding that machines, quote, make our life so much easier. She calls the paintings of Spot and the other robots her heroic portraits. Heroic portraits of the robots that she loves, Gonzo.
I'm for the robots.
Yeah, exactly. You hearken back to some of, famous portraits of the past. I'm thinking of like the famous portrait of Napoleon on his horse. Yes. Very heroic, very grand. That's kind of the idea she's trying to come across with these robots. Quote, as humans, every time we want to do something heroic, we build a machine, she said, pointing to the Wright brothers' airplane as an example. This isn't the first time technology has served Pilat's inspiration. Blah, blah, blah. Talks about a different project that she worked on. Let me skip down
She's
again.
got her website on the side of Spot here. pilatart.com, right next to the Boston Dynamics thing there. It's good marketing for them.
No, she is totally in. And you can see some of these portraits, those who are viewing, and they're very interesting. I mean, they're very pleasant to look at. They've got kind of an abstract feel, sort of a modern feel, but one of them has two flippy arms, like reaching towards one another, similar to the Adam. What is it called? The one with God and Adam sort of reaching towards one another.
Right.
It goes into here
There's like circuit board style.
Yeah, a lot of circuit board stuff. Jason Fiorillo, the chief legal officer for Boston Dynamics, who helped provide Pilat with access to the company, said he is touched by Pilat's portrayals. Ooh. He opened the door to her because he figured that, quote, if we can see our technologies through her eyes, the world would benefit, he said. Today, he said, large format versions of Pilat's work hang in the halls of Boston Dynamics. Quote, she likes to paint robots as heroes, he said. That's actually the way we see our robots as well. No kidding. And some other details here that, one of the portraits, a self-portrait by Spot, got $30,000 at a Sotheby's auction. So there's real economics in this. And remember, when it comes to economics, that's the definitive sort of real making measurement when it comes to the world. If it makes money,
it's the metric to measure value in the real world.
And not even value. It's like existence. It's realness. It's importance again.
Well, perceived value. Whoever pays $30,000 for a painting by a robot.
Yeah, I mean, in value, I'm thinking value more in like the existential sense.
Right.
The value of it belonging to, its existence is justified when you put big numbers on it. The robot has also been involved in crafting basic imitations of famous work. Meow, meow, meow. That's my new thing, by the way. I'm trying to, instead of blah, 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 because every time we say blah, 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 somebody thinks we're doing like 666. Or if
seriously?
we do.
Or we're doing Greta?
I see it pretty on the regular, because Greta had her blah, 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 connects with Build Back Better.
Yeah, come on.
We have some people who are making connections.
I'm saying, how are you going to let the most recent version of something like blah, blah, blah take over the symbolism?
Gonz, don't argue. We're just saying meow, meow, meow now. Okay, hold on. We're almost done here. Her next big project, which she plans to debut this spring, is a collection of NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. The NFT that patrons buy will be purely encrypted data, presented as a string of numbers collected by Spot from its movement while it paints. In addition to the digital asset, buyers will also get a number of Spot originals. The physical paintings will all be the same design. In the spirit of Warhol, they are going to be identical, but not quite, Pilat said. The paradox of the machine is that it's, quote, supposed to be repetitive and standardized, but it's not really, she said. Quote, I think that's what makes the machine a little more human. Dun, dun, dun. And with that, Pilat, I think, is taking her place in sort of the Hall of Fame of useful propagandistic tools for the technocracy, the technocrats, having an emissary in the artistic space. And again, it's all around the heroicism of robots. We love to track the trend here on the Flippy Update of the social engineering that goes into the acceptance of robots, not just in society, but into the human heart. And we have here an example of that, making robots heroes in portraits. And the change of perception from a machine being something doing a repetitive task to something that has a unique fingerprint. It's never the same. Should be repetitive and standardized, but it's not really. I think that's what makes the machine a little more human. And thank you, Boston Dynamics and Pilat, for doing your good work to try to convince the rest of the humans that we should think of robots not as tools, not as machines, but as something not so different from us.
Well, I would argue, let me point out, not argue, but let me just point out that art is, and this is partly why we do the art, and, the producer, thank the producers and encourage producers to do art and sound and audio and jingles and all kinds of stuff, is because it creates a bridge for something that otherwise wouldn't necessarily have mainstream access or messaging. And I think about CERN. Remember, they had a big old art project. They had big productions with, if it's not art, it's, some kind of ritual type thing. There's all kinds of stuff associated with the arts in general, high fashion. And I think this is similar here. This is more like allowing the machine to have a vehicle, a bridge for humans to relate. And art is sort of the best way to do it because it's expression, and if you're able to assign the ability of expression to a machine, then your psychology, for the masses, the psychology for robots will also change, because ultimately what they're trying to do is get humans and robots to more or less mate. To become one.
The merging of man and machine. And it's much easier to convince somebody to, merge their mind with a computer or merge their body with a robot in one way or another, if you consider robots to be somewhat human,
right,
or at least to be not so far away from humanity as they are.
Right.
And there you go. I think actually, this is a big step towards that.
I think it might be in the additional stories segment of or section of the show notes. Maybe I didn't put it in there, but basically there was a robot story about how. Oh, here it is. Popular Science. Basically, somebody did a study about looking at how humans mirror the movements of robots and how that affects us. And how we are influenced, like humans, and you can see this a lot in actually dance, like robot style dance. Since robots became more culturally visible in movies and TV shows, and the dance moves have also evolved, and they look even better now. They look like real robots, when they do the robot moves, and it's all influenced from the machine itself. And there's music that does that too. So
right. And it goes into the conversation that we've been having for a couple episodes now in regards to human beings sort of, a lot of times acting and feeling simply how they are expected or told to, And so on one hand, you have humans programming, creating robots. On the other hand, you have humans emulating what they see in robots. It's really becoming more of a back and forth rather than one being the product of another. And that is sort of the perfect representation or one of the manifestations of this, the social ideation that robots and humans are not so different.
Yeah.
It just keeps on going. Man, we've really gotten very philosophical in the Flippy updates this past year.
Well, I mean, it's because
when you talk about it 3 days a week, things really start to sink in.
Yeah. It's like the child that keeps asking why. Keeps going deeper.
Well, let's keep moving.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19,
COVID-19.
yes. COVID-19, COVID-19. Coronavirus.
Layla, Billboard.com. Headline: Vaccine skeptic Eric Clapton claims subliminal messages are convincing people to fall in line. I'm loving Eric Clapton more and more. I got to tell you, I've seen him play live, and was kind of a fan, when I was a kid. But he's a whole new level now. After months of railing,
fighting the mind control, is that what we're seeing?
Oh yeah. The Eric Clapton's been I think he got the vaccine and got really sick, and now he's anti-vax and
got canceled for just stating that he was sick from the vaccine. Yeah.
After months of railing against COVID-19 lockdowns and vaccines and refusing to play shows that require vaccination proof, Eric Clapton has seemingly embraced a controversial theory claiming that secret messages are allegedly being hidden inside YouTube videos with the goal of driving mass compliance with COVID precautions. The 70s.
They're calling that they're calling the idea of subliminal messaging a conspiracy theory.
Yes, well, it's Billboard. They can't be. They are the biggest, perhaps,
purveyors of subliminal messages.
They are the peak when it comes to distributing the mind control. Okay. The 76-year-old rock icon pointed to the theory as an explanation for his divisive views on the global pandemic that has killed more than 5.6 million people worldwide. Quote, "I thought, what's going on here? I didn't get the memo. Whatever the memo was, it hadn't reached me," Clapton told YouTube channel The Real Music Observer about why he decided to team up with his old friend, the fellow lockdown opponent Van Morrison, for the anti-lockdown screed Stand and Deliver, as well as releasing his own similar take, "This has got to stop." I like that Van Morrison is making anti-lockdown, anti-vaccine music. I don't know if you've listened to any of it, Basil.
A lot of these guys are now, it seems.
These 70s, 60s, and 70s rockers are all like, hey, wait a minute, man. This is what we fought against.
Yeah, totally.
Clapton told the YouTube channel's host that he then realized that he had, in fact, gotten the memo in the form of a controversial theory espoused by clinical psychology professor Matthias Desmet, who has been promoting the idea that we are all suffering from a mass psychosis when it comes to COVID-19. The theory proposes that messages encouraging people to get vaccinated against COVID-19 and to take other precautions are part of a shadowy attempt to hypnotize the masses to fall in line.
Interesting how they're referring to Desmet and not to Malone.
Yeah, straight to the source here.
Yeah, so a little, just some background if anybody didn't know. Of course, there's the Joe Rogan, Robert Malone thing where they talked about mass formation, and that got it trending and got it into the mainstream. But this Desmet fella, he is the guy who originally has been talking about this for, well, I don't know, close to a year, probably, maybe more.
Maybe more, yeah. The mentions Joe Rogan here. The theory, which has been widely debunked by MedPageToday.com, apparently, gained steam in December 2021 on the popular Joe Rogan Experience podcast, which has frequently been the source of incorrect and medically dubious information about the pandemic, according to CNBC.
I love calling Joe Rogan a source because, of course, he interviews other people. Like, he interviews people who talk about this stuff, both pro and against the vaccine. So I wouldn't say he's the source of these ideas, certainly a channel where the most people are receiving the information. But, you know, everything anybody talks about on Joe Rogan, they've been talking about for 2 years on their own channels.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know why I needed to pick that out, but there you go.
Well, yeah. Clapton has claimed that he suffered from severe nerve damage to his fingers as a result of taking the AstraZeneca vaccine and was so sick he could not play his guitar for months. Quote, "My career had almost gone anyway. At the point where I spoke up, it had been almost 18 months since I had kind of been forcibly retired," he told Real Music Observer. Quote, "And I joined forces with Van. I got the tip that Van was standing up to the measures, and I thought, why isn't anybody else doing this? And we go back. I've known him since we were kids, and I contacted him. I said, what do you think? What's going on? And he says, I'm just objecting, really, but it seems like we're not even allowed to do that, and nobody else is doing it. And I said, you're kidding, nobody else? Clapton said he was surprised and mystified when nobody wanted to hear his anti-lockdown songs, which just challenged him even more. Quote, "I'm cut from the cloth where if you tell me I can't do something, I really want to know why I can't do it. And it seems like I'd had a wall built around me, but I thought, I'm going to do this," he said, adding that he did cut some of Morrison's lyrics, quote, "just to pacify those that I really didn't want to hurt or scare. Regardless," he said, some of his family and friends were scared. And then he said he happened upon his theory about an alleged subliminal message in pro-vaccination videos, and, quote, "I could see it then. Once I kind of started to look for it, I saw it everywhere. Then I remembered seeing little things on YouTube which were like subliminal advertising. It had been going on for a long time, that things about you will own nothing and you will be happy. And I thought, what's that mean?" said Clapton. It looks like, it sounds like he's been watching some Great Reset videos by some folks. And Clapton in the interview said Clapton, or no, what's that mean? Said Clapton in the interview about the alleged mind manipulation going on YouTube. I like the idea of Clapton just sitting around watching YouTube. You know, like when I was a kid, it was like, he must play his guitar all day, every day to be so amazing. But he's like, now he's just sitting there watching YouTube.
Celebrities, they're just like us, going down hours-long YouTube rabbit holes.
Real Music, here comes the ad hominem. Real Music Observer has frequently referred to people who support vaccines as complete morons and hive mind. And recent videos contain titles such as "Meatloaf Possible Cause of Death Being Used Against People Who Love Freedom," and "Pink Floyd legend Nick Mason cancels all his 2022 shows due to the Thingdemic." Ooh, the Thingdemic. I like that. It's a good one there, Real Music Observer. And bit by bit, I put a rough kind of jigsaw puzzle together, and that made me even more resolute. And so I went on from that to looking at the news stuff that was coming out in England and the UK. We have BBC, and it used to be an impartial commentary on world affairs and state affairs, and suddenly it was completely one-way traffic about following orders and obedience. Clapton continued in the interview titled "Eric Clapton versus the Hive Mind." Last paragraph. Those fears about hidden messages, he said, are part of what motivated him to work on the songs. Quote, "Then these guys that were in power really started to tick me off. And everybody," he said, "I have a tool, I have a calling, and I can make use of that. So I set about it and started writing." There you go. They're trying to make Clapton sound like a nutball here. Like just, oh, he's crazy. He thinks there's subliminal messages in music.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, you know, it is a sort of an effective trope, I guess, because the subliminal messages in music has sort of traditionally been, I feel like traditionally been represented in mainstream media by like Christian quacks specifically.
Right.
You know, because he had the whole sort of narrative where rock and roll groups were putting satanic subliminal messages, playing things backwards,
assigning demons to songs, and
sure, yeah. So you kind of have
the John
that
Todd stuff early
background to to trigger people's social programming,
right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Good job.
I don't think he's wrong though. Like I bet.
I don't think a lot of people don't think he's wrong. That's the funny part.
Right.
Like it's pretty well documented that subliminal messaging is a thing and at least can be used in to subtly communicate in ways that people aren't aware of.
Mm-hmm. Real quickly here, this is another sports ball because today's sports ball day.
I'm watching the sports. Sports did good. Ooh, did the ball go?
The ball go. According to the Spokesman review from Spokane, Washington, John Stockton's defiance of COVID mask mandate forces Gonzaga to suspend NBA Hall of Famers basketball season tickets. And I don't know if you know who John Stockton is. Basil, do you know who John Stockton is?
Yeah.
No? Okay. You are I don't want to dox you, but you're over 6 feet tall, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You're taller guy.
Yeah.
John Stockton is listed at 6'1", although he's probably right about 6 feet, maybe even less. And he is one of the best players to ever play basketball. To give you an idea, Basil, he has the most assists in NBA history.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what an assist is?
What a team player.
Yeah. He passes the ball for someone to score. And then he also has the most steals in NBA history, topping people like Michael Jordan. So, he's a legend. He's a basketball legend.
Okay.
But apparently, because he's like no on the mask mandate, Gonzaga had to take away his season passes. This is as much of a cancel culture type of thing as there can be for a Hall of Fame basketball player for not wearing a mask. Seriously, people need to get over it. Gonzaga should be ashamed of yourselves, Bulldogs. Okay, I'm done. There's my sports ball.
Well, there you go. Thank you for the sports ball. Let's get back to some COVID stuff.
It is still COVID stuff.
It is still. No, you're right. Here we go. But here's some more COVID stuff, Gonz, which was actually harder to find any information about than I was expecting. So in cases like that, what we're going to do is take it straight from infamous United States government propaganda outlet Voice of America. And this is from voanews.com. The headline, thousands march in Washington against masks and vaccine mandates. So there's the big, the big defeat the mandates rally yesterday. And let's see what you would never know because there's not a whole lot out there about it. But let's see what the official propaganda says. Thousands of anti-mask and vaccine mandate protesters rallied on the Mall in Washington, D.C. on Sunday to voice opposition to the Biden administration's COVID-19 mask and vaccine policies. Gathering at the base of the Washington Monument and then marching to the Lincoln Memorial, the protesters held signs saying, "Make love, not mandates," and "Coercion is not choice." COVID-19 has killed more than 860,000 people in the United States and more than 5.5 million globally over the 2-year-long pandemic that has weighed heavily on the economy. That's a pretty packed statement there. That we
lot of lies just packed into one giant ball.
Yes, it's just one sentence that you could spend lots of time unpacking, but we're going to skip that for this segment. On January 13th, the U.S. Supreme Court blocked President Joe Biden's COVID-19 vaccination or testing mandate for large businesses, a policy the conservative justices deemed an improper imposition on the lives and health of many Americans, while endorsing a separate federal vaccine requirement for healthcare facilities. Many U.S. companies have implemented blah, 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 blah. There's nothing else about the march. Just goes on to give this, there's the regular sentence. Talking points.
Two sentences.
Two sentences in the entire report about the march. Now, if you search, I was searching anti-mandate protest But let's try something more official. We'll do defeat the mandate protest.
Well, there was a Forbes article I have in the show notes here.
Yeah, so that some other things do exist, but not as many, because I'm searching here, and you get the first results that I'm getting are the official defeatthemandatesdc.com website, and then when it gets into the news, it's TennesseeStar.com, EpochTimes.com, Yahoo, okay, Newsmax, the Minnesota Sun, Uncovered DC, and the Daily Call. It's just all either small local outlets or, the ones you'd expect, like Daily Caller and Epoch Times. But we do have, let's see here, Fox News did do a report on it, but they too did not really talk a whole lot about it. It's just, there's the Defeat the Mandates march took to the streets yesterday. There was somewhere between 30,000 and 50,000 people who showed up. Here's some pictures. And that's pretty much it. There were some speakers. You had the Robert Kennedy, you had Robert Malone, and they don't like the mandates. So that happened. Moving on. I'm
looking at some pictures from this Forbes article titled Anti-Vaccine Mandate Protest, RFK Jr., Proud Boys, and Holocaust Imagery, making it sound really scary.
There it is. Okay. That's what we were looking for.
But there's lots of pictures here, and there's some pictures of like the Washington Monument, and there are a lot of people. And it doesn't say, I don't think it says how many people were there. It just starts off, because it's one of those key facts articles. It's not like a written article. It's more like, just here are some bullet points. And the first point is, organizers hoped as many as 20,000 people would march Sunday for the Defeat the Madness rally or mandates rally, according to a permit from the National Park Service seen by the Washington Post. Okay, they expected as many as 20,000. Yeah. How many were there? How come they don't give the number? It's like, that's
is
weird.
Funny. Yeah, that's funny. I mean, what we're seeing here is trying to do a bit of a media blackout about the, to sum it all up.
It's a poo-poo. It's it happened, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you don't want to give it too much credence. I mean, NPR had an article about it on the 18th, which is very funny. It's like, these evil protesters are coming, and if you own a restaurant, close it down. Don't let these protesters in, blah, blah, blah. This is a threat to the Washington, D.C. community, stuff like that. But what we're more or less seeing is a complete blackout of real reporting on the event. And I find this fascinating. Well, not surprising, but also fascinating, because one thing, I was listening to the Dark Horse podcast, which
so is
hip. I'm just trying to keep up with what conversations are going on. What is their name? Oh my gosh, I forgot the guy's name. Glenn.
No, it's kind of like Epstein. It's not Epstein, but it's the brothers.
No, that's not the Dark Horse podcast. The Dark Horse podcast is please chat. Oh my gosh, people are going crazy right now that I can't. Brett Weinstein.
Yeah, kind of like Epstein.
Kind of, yeah, okay. So Brett Weinstein.
Isn't he a brother? Doesn't he have a brother?
I don't know, but stop. Brett Weinstein and Heather Hanging is his wife. Okay. And they're, scientists, and they've been speaking out a lot against mandates and just how crazy everything is. And he claims to be on sort of the inside of the planning, some of the planning for this protest, or at least on the sort of in the inner circle of the know. And he came out, I think it was on Saturday or Friday, and he made this big announcement about how he's not going to it because he's worried, like a January 6th thing, that, some forces that would wish to discredit the march or the protest, might cause something bad.
Asian provocateurs would come stir things up and create a narrative for the opposition.
And so he claims to have taken the stance, which I have no reason to not believe him, but he claims to take the stance where he said, "Oh, I'm not going to the thing. I've been involved in the, maybe not in the planning, but I've been aware of all the planning. I'm on the inside. I was really looking forward to go, but I'm not going to go because if something squirrely does happen, then they're going to do what they did with January 6th, which is try to make a case that it was the plan all along for this to turn violent, for whatever, for vandalism or riots or something bad to happen."
Right.
That was the plan all along. And he said, "I'm not going to participate. I'm going to stay on the outside so that when these things happen, I can, tell the story."
Yeah.
No, he specifically was saying, "I want to tell the story of if things start coming out about planning or whatever, that he can say, no, I was there for the planning. I was there the whole time. I can tell you exactly what it was. This bad thing that happened was not part of the plan," and et cetera, et cetera. Which is why I think it's kind of fascinating. I think the reason we're not hearing anything in the mainstream is because nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
We hear everything went according to plan. It was a nice, peaceful protest. A bunch of people, 30,000 people or more came out, showed up, made their voices heard. And so because it was, a good example of what a protest should be, the mainstream media is not interested. If they can't call the protesters, evil, crazy domestic terrorists, anti-vaccine quacks, then why even cover it?
Right.
The mainstream wishes that something had gone horribly wrong, and we'd all hear about it. It would be the main topic of news for a couple of weeks. How the evil, anti-mandate protesters burned down something or other.
Well, they the Daily Beast had their little attempt at something like this. So this is back at the beginning of January. Maybe it was a little bit too early. Maybe it was in preparation for January 6th. But the Daily Beast had a headline: "Anti-vax leader traveling country with guns, flamethrowers, and fake badge in quest to arrest Dem governors."
Cool.
Yeah.
When was this? Who was this?
January
what is the
1st.
Story?
It's January 1st.
Flamethrowers. Fun.
Anti-COVID-19 vaccine police organization leader Christopher Kay, who has proudly claimed he would soon arrest Democrat Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards over vaccine mandates, has set off on a cross-country road trip with a fake badge and high-capacity firearms. In a series of Telegram messages posted over the past week, Key has visited countless state offices and harassed officials over vaccines, masks, and mandates. In a phone conversation with the Daily Beast this week, Key stated he has been traveling the country serving, quote-unquote, they put it in quotes, serving people with packets of information he believes supports his conspiracy theory that COVID-19 vaccines are bioweapons. But it's not only firearms Key has shown off. He also appears to have access to a flamethrower. All those bioweapons that we have that are not vaccines, they all need to be lined up and they need to be exterminated, Key said in a video posted in mid-December while brandishing a flamethrower. On Saturday night, when he asked about the guns and if he intends to bring them along when conducting the planned arrests, Key told the Daily Beast he is, quote, "never about violence. I will do it," the citizen arrest, "lawfully, and the sheriffs will be with me," he added. And there's a video of him shooting the flamethrower. Hold on.
That's hilarious.
What we're gonna do with this right here, guys.
Okay, but this was
This right here, guys.
this was back on January
All those
1st,
bioweapons
right?
that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I'm waiting for him to make, be the guy, the fall guy at this march, this protest. He'd be the perfect guy to set up. Is like, oh, look at he brought his torch flamethrower out and burned down half the trees over by the monument.
Yeah,
Washington
well, the
Monument.
mainstream media sure would love that. There was a slideshow from Reuters of the march.
Oh.
And they specifically chose like the least impressive pictures.
The close-up shots so you can't see the
close-up shots, the weird framing where you'll get like the back end of a crowd, but then it's just like they're shooting empty space behind them.
Right.
You know, specifically making it look small. And there's just like pictures. One of them was a guy standing kind of like out in a bush, in like a gardened area or something on a cell phone. And it's in the Reuters like slideshow of the protest. And it was just a guy in an American flag hat holding an American flag standing by a bush on his phone. And they literally just titled it, "Protester Uses Phone Behind a Bush." It's like, Reuters, what in the world are you doing?
At these dangerous people on their phones next to a bush.
Look how lame this protest was. Here's a guy using a phone by a bush.
They're probably trying to get the atheists to make fun of the religious people who think that God spoke through a burning bush.
That certainly is a deep dive into what they might be trying to do. I think on the surface, they're just like, yeah, look, it's lame. This guy was bored, so he went behind a bush and called his mom or something. Why would you even
publish that? Reuters?
Exactly. Why would you? Yeah. You would do it as a way of technically reporting on a piece of news without making it interesting whatsoever, so nobody shares it or looks at it or anything. So yeah, there you go. I mean, this is one of the ways that the mainstream corporate news will report without reporting on things they don't want people seeing or thinking about.
All right.
So I would be interested in hearing. I mean, I don't think there is much more to hear about the march. The march is they successfully marched. 30,000 to 50,000 people showed up. There were some speakers. There was no violence. It was peaceful, and sort of disappointingly to the corporate news. And there you go. It was great. Yep. But this news blackout is certainly not what they were hoping for.
Yeah. Well, not surprising whatsoever. But let's take a break. But before we do, let me mention the party.
Yay.
CanaryCry.Party. Go there. Subscribe to our email list, print out Street Team art, explore all the platforms where we live stream, connect with other Canarians. Oh my gosh. It's the place you wanna be. So say welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay CanaryCry.Party. Yeah, you got supply drops, become a producer, produce a show. You can do all kinds of stuff.
All sorts of stuff.
Party.
Do it. Go there. It's fun. All right, let's take a break.
Break time.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okie dokie, folks. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because after that break, we'll be back with more Russia news. Things are happening.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got lots of stuff to talk about, and it includes the Pope. What? Yes. And then, of course, some China news mixed in there as well. So stick around, and we will be checking in on what's going on between Russia, the Ukraine, and the rest of the world. Is it World War III? I don't know. We'll find out later. But for now, we want to take a little second and thank some of our producers. That's right. I said producers, baby, because that's what they are. You may have noticed. We have no advertisers, no affiliate codes, no corporate money whatsoever. We don't even sell male enhancement supplements. Isn't that a relief? So how can we possibly do this? How can we do 3 shows a week for 3 or 4 hours at a time without any corporate money whatsoever going into the system? Well, it's a little thing called the value for value model. And that's right. And if you haven't heard, let me learn you something. The value for value model is simple. We create value. We do it 3 times a week, and we try our very hardest at it. And if you get any value out of what we do, you have the opportunity or the responsibility to put some value back in. And I say responsibility because we are all moving into this era of technology and the world where the corporate influence over news and media and pretty much everything is not just confined to the big corporate news media channels. You know, you got your obvious ones, your CNNs, your Foxes, your CNBCs, the machines, the heads of the Hydra of the social engineering that is the media. But we've moved into this era where it is easier than ever for an independent media outlet like ourselves to get advertisers and sponsors and affiliate programs and build something that you can get paid by the corporate advertising machine. And all you have to do is sign away the rights of the privacy and big data and the rights to not be psychologically manipulated, or rather the rights of your listeners to not be psychologically manipulated into believing that happiness and fulfillment could be theirs if they just spend some money on something they don't want or need. Because that's exactly what the advertising industry does. They create problems like big data and privacy concerns and algorithms and social media that spies on you constantly. They take that data and they use it to create a model of you, a nice little cybernetic model of you that they can practice manipulating on. And when an independent media producer like us starts taking advertising dollars, one of the problems is that it turns you, dear listener, into a commodity, into a product for us not to not to be our client where you receive value from us, but you then become our product that we collect, package up, and sell to advertising companies for our own personal gain. And that's just sort of a twisted thing that the world, the economic religion of advertising asks its followers to do. So we decided that is not, we're not going to follow that, the priests of advertising into that dark hole. Instead, we're on the value for value model, which means if you get any value out of what we do, you can become a part of it by becoming a producer. This means you're taking responsibility for your own media future. You're not relying on advertisers to fund anything, you fund your news or your entertainment. That's how we got into this mess. It's only through the value for value model that not only can we break free from the corporate influence that comes along with advertisers and affiliate codes but also you can break free from the subtle manipulations, sometimes not so subtle manipulations, and being turned into a product. And people who do support the show, we call them producers because that's exactly what they are. You can put it on your LinkedIn, put it on your resume. Somebody's putting it in on their Indeed profile. It's the real deal, folks. It's just like the real world. If you pay to have a piece of media produced, you are a producer. And we thank them now. You can produce in many ways with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And we're going to thank some of our financial producers right now. The first way you can do that is by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, head on over to CanaryCry.com/support. CanaryCryRadio.com/support. That's right. CanaryCryRadio.com/support has so many options. It's fun. Go check it out. You can support the show with your cryptocurrency. If you're a cool cyber hacker, you can find our public wallets there. You can join up and support the show on a monthly basis if you've been enjoying for a while and want to continue to get value from the program. That's a great set it and forget it easy option for you. Or if commitment is not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount. Gonz, who's coming in? Who are we thanking today?
We are going to kick things off in the break here thanking Anonymous.
Anonymous. That's right. And Anonymous comes in to be our executive producer for this episode.
Where'd you find this?
And not only are they anonymous, not only are they executive producer, but there's a note here that says, I prefer to remain anonymous, please. Just demooch me. Thanks. Okay. Hear ye, hear ye. Executive producer Anonymous has been demooched, coming in to produce the show for the first time. We appreciate it very much, Anonymous. Thank you. And, yeah, keep it going.
Supply drop.
Time for the Canary Cry supply drop producers. That's right. You know them. You love them. They've signed up to commit to producing the show for 33 or more every month for this year and beyond. And when they do that, they join the elite squadron of Canary Cry supply drop producers who will be receiving free gifts once a quarter. That's right. Once a quarter, they will be receiving the Canary Cry supply drop chock-a-block full of fun Canary Cry items, swag, buttons, stickers, products of all kinds, and some fun little something extra that we're working on, which is going to be super fun. We're very excited about it. But if you're interested, you can head to CanaryCry.Supply.com. Read all about it, CanaryCry.Supply.com. And you'll learn about the program. It is our 2022 producer thank you program, and also a wonderful creative outlet for us to actually create some merchandise, but merchandise isn't even the right word. These are treasures. These are true treasures that we get to create and send them out to our supply drop producers. And let's thank some of those folks now, Gonzo, starting with our new Canary Cry dropper, Catherine D.
Thank you, Catherine D.
Thank you very much, Catherine D. Comes in with the 33 in fees. Appreciate it. Next up, we have supply dropper Matthew S.
Thank you, Matthew S.
Whee! Coming in with the 33. I was supposed to look out for a note from Matthew, but I don't know if I got it. So I might move on, but I'll do a quick looky-loo here. But while I'm doing that, we can thank our next Canary Cry supply dropper, and that is, you know him, you love him, it's Child of God.
Thank you, Child of God.
Whee! And he actually came in with some one-time producerships. We'll do his streak at that time. But he also has committed to the 33 a month plus fees. Thank you very much, Child of God. And there you go. Those are our 3 new Canary Cry supply droppers. And for a couple more little pieces of info here, the cutoff date for the first quarter Q1 supply drop will be February 28th. So you don't want to miss it. If you sign up after February 28th, you will be added to the list, but you will miss the first quarter delivery because we need manufacturing time and shipping and all this kind of stuff. So those who are signing up before February 8th, or 28th rather, and maintaining their producership, keep an eye out. Fun stuff coming in March. Okay. All right, Gonz, who else is coming in today?
Okay, well, we left off with Child of God for the supply drop, and we're going to start thanking the rest of the producers with Child of God.
Whee! Thank you very much. Child of God is on a streak. And it's a big day because producer Child of God is on a 42-episode streak supporting the show, which means Child of God is the answer.
Carry this message to Hiram a bit.
Congratulations, Child of God, and thank you for your continued support of the show. Child of God also came in with 33 plus fees and a pocket full of 3s in fees. And note here, you have convinced me. Can I have this go towards episode 437? This will make my 40-second donation. Yep, you got it. Thank you very much, Child of God.
Illuminatus!
Called you out, Child of God.
Oh, Illuminaticized.
Next up, we have Austin A.
Thank you very much. Austin A comes in for 2233. And a note that says, the South Carolina meetup was lit. So glad I didn't talk myself out of going. Oh, good job. That's always a risk.
It is, yeah.
You know, when we hear, every meetup, there's more people who RSVP than actually show up because people, talk themselves out of going. Something comes up or whatever, and they can't go, and that's totally okay. But Austin nailed it. Arrived. Good job, Austin. And we've got a meetup report from the South Carolina meetup, which is lit as well. But his note continues, knowing the enemy doesn't want us together made me go for it. So glad I did. Great connections, fun conversations from farming to Freemasons. Also, anyone interested in a Canary Cry gun club? Ooh. I can almost guarantee that we would have some people interested in the Canary Cry gun club.
We would, yeah.
Yeah.
I already have a couple people in mind who would spearhead such a project.
Well, send us an email, Austin, and these types of groups and meetups and things. These are all producer led and producer created. So, as a producer, Austin, feel empowered to take some initiative on that.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much, Austin A. Next up, we have Christian N.
Christian N is in the house. Thank you very much, Christian N, coming in with 2022. And note, hello, Basil, and happy belated birthday to Gonz. You are still my favorite podcast ever. I have not missed out on a single show ever since you started. That includes Canary Cry Radio, Facelikethesun, The Joyspiracy Theory, and Ravel. But I'm still lost on the microfiction. Yeah. Whoa, something big just fell.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Christian N. He ends the note with greetings from Norway, my dudes.
Norway.
Yes, he's one of our Norwegian producers. Thank you very much for tuning in, Christian, and hope you're enjoying a new Ravel just dropped yesterday. What is the word? The response episode, the other side of the coin to the patriarchy episode. Go check it out. You're gonna like it, folks.
And I wonder, is the Norwegian wood truly as magical and mystical as they say? You'll have to tell us.
The Norwegian wood? Like the woods? The forest?
The woods, the forest.
It's pretty magical.
I've been
in the Norwegian forest.
Did you see the fairies and the leprechauns and the...
Funny you say so. So I went walking in this Norwegian forest, and I think this is fairly common, that people like carve little trolls and gnomes and things and just leave them randomly around the forest.
Yeah.
Elves, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've walked through plenty Norwegian forests, and I've yet to be in a Norwegian forest that I did not come across some sort of delightful wood carving of some sort of creature.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. Thank you, Christian N. Next up, we have Palmer B.
Palmer B is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule! Woo! 15 episodes in a row, which means Palmer B is a rocket woman.
Burning out his fuse out here alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Palmer B comes in for 1111 plus fees. Did you have something to say?
Oh, I was just going to say some of these tiers, when they get to the levels, are not gender friendly.
Yeah. Okay. We're gender exclusionary, but we can blame that on I don't know,
the producers.
No,
why are you so unwoke?
Well, as soon as a woman sings Rocket Man, we can add it in there.
Rocket woman.
I was not blaming it on our producers. I was blaming it on
Shatner.
On Shatner.
Oh.
Shatner and what's his face before that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Palmer B has a note.
Yeah.
Excited for today's episode of CanaryCry Radio. Thanks for all you do, comrades. I was thinking, Palmer B's note brought a thought to my mind, which is it'd be pretty funny to have some sort of like Soviet style anthem, like CanaryCry Radio Soviet style anthem.
Yeah.
And we could play it for our, Russia segments or for CanaryCry Radio stuff or something. I don't know. Just thought it'd be funny if somebody wants to take that on.
Great. It'll be the anti-vax nation flag blowing in the wind while we play the Russian military anthem and scream "Think Outside the Cage."
Something like that. I think some talented producer could put together a Soviet-style CanaryCry radio anthem, keeping it jingle length, of course. But there you go. All right, who's next?
Thank you very much, Palmer B. Next up, we have Morv.
Morv is on a streak. Obs. 11-11.
11-11.
And a note, keep your finger ready. Happy Monday.
Monday. Oh, I got to go to the right page here on the board. Here we go.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Oh, I had a closer Monday. I have a backup Monday. I could have gone too faster. Sorry about that.
Okay. You found your...
I got Mondays everywhere.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. There's more note. Hope Gonzo had a great birthday and everyone enjoyed their weekend. I had a blast at the South Carolina meetup and cannot wait to do it again. So encouraging to get to hang out with so many like-minded brothers and sisters in Christ. Looks like the South Carolina meetup is showing up heavy in the chat today too.
Ooh.
That's a fun group down there in Southern California. No, Southern Carolina. Oh no, seppuku. I need seppuku again.
That is the ultimate sin. To call our South Carolinians as Southern Californians.
I know. Our Southern Carolinians are way cooler than our South Californians.
How dare you compare me to the Gamecocks?
Okay.
All right. Where were we?
Morv.
Thanks, Morv. Appreciate it. And yes, we'll hear more from the SC Canarians because we'll hear from one right now. JC.
JC is on a streak.
Come on, streaking! Come on, everybody! We're going! Woo!
62 episodes in a row.
Yeah.
There's no jingle for that. Thank you, JC. Comes in for 1001 producership.
1001. Amen.
Sorry, I got distracted. There's been some above average Basil hate in the chat here. Somebody mentioned something about RH negative, and I was trying to figure out what that is. I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But moving on, JC's note says, nope, yeah. Happy Monday, guys. Sorry for the late producership. I had an absolute blast at the Super Southeast Mega Meetup. I think we'll need to do this quarterly. It was like finding long-lost family.
Wow,
that's so nice.
Thank you so much, JC.
Indeed. Thank you very much, JC.
Next up, Heather Sir Russ.
Heather Sir Russ is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule.
And big day for Heather Sir Russ because they've been supporting the show for 50 episodes in a row, which means they have reached the Nifty 50 Jubilee Jamboree.
Nifty 50 Jubilee, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Thank you very much, Heather Sir Russ, coming in with the 1001.
Hold on. Sorry.
No problem.
I was preparing for the other stuff that's in there. Here we go.
1001. Amen.
Okay, and a note that says, Happy Monday, all. Can we get a Gonzo jingle mix? Much love, Heather Sir Russ.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
They've been creating animal-human hybrids for decades.
Aliens.
Aliens. Thank you very much, Heather Sir Russ. Good mix there, John.
Son of a beastie.
Johns.
Did you just call me Johns?
Johns, yeah.
Wow, you're really...
very distracted today.
I was going to say, fast and loose.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Heather Sir Russ. Next up, we have Sean S.
Woo! Sean S. coming in. Thank you very much, Sean S. For $9.12. and says, so if you had signed up for the calendar before Jan 1, then you are auto-signed up for supply drop, right? Right, correct. Yes, that is a detail I've not run through in a couple episodes, but that is part of the deal. That was a nice little reward for the early calendar signer-uppers. In addition, if you sign up for the supply drop in this Q1 for the first time, you do receive the Canary Cry calendar. It's sort of the last chance for the Canary Cry calendar. So another great reason to get on the supply drop. But Sean S.'s note continues, says, Gonz's pet peeve, revelations. My pet peeve, whole nother. Nother is not a word. Yah bless.
It's true. Well, it's whole other. It's supposed to be whole other, not another.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I feel like whole nother is like a regional colloquialism though, kind of like y'all. I
guess it could be.
Yeah.
It's not proper.
Yeah, well,
no one writes the word nother.
Well, I don't know that for sure, but yeah. I write y'all a lot. I can say that much. Thank you very much, Sean S.
Thank you, Sean S. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Josh M.
Josh M. is on a streak. 2 episodes in a row. Thank you very much, Josh M. Comes in with 777 plus fees and a note. Hey, Basil and Gonz, I donated on Friday and completely had a Biden brain fart and knew it was Gonz's birthday, but I accidentally wrote Basil.
Oh yeah. That's right.
I remember that. No worries, Josh. We knew what you meant, and it was fun to be included in the birthday festivities. I'm glad it turned out to be a hilarious moment on the stream, though. It is our birthday. God bless Josh M. Thank you very much, Josh M. And yes, here at CanaryCry Radio, it is our birthday.
Yes, in the United States.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
America.
Next up, we have Sir Scott, Knight of Truth.
Sir Scott is on a streak. Thank you, Sir Scott, producing the show for 99 episodes in a row. Next episode.
The last time in the double digits. You have. Yes. You will reach the triple digit.
You're about to cross the threshold. Only the second person to make it 100 episodes in a row. The elite squadron of producers.
Yep.
And Sir Scott comes. Got the hiccups. Sir Scott comes in for 777.
Yep. Thank you very much, Sir Scott, Knight of Truth. Next up, we have Sir Salmon's Knight of the Fishes.
There he is. Sir Salmon's is on a streak. 18 episodes in a row and a pocket full of sevens. And
Supernova.
This is Charlie, November Tango. You are approaching Supernova. Repeat, you are approaching Supernova.
Thank you very much, Sir Salmons, and congratulations. You've gotten Supernova. He's got a note here. Happy Monday, all. Hope everyone has had a great weekend. Wars and rumors of wars. Kind of wondering what Russia wants in Ukraine. They already have resurrected Scythian warriors.
That's right.
It's true. They're cloning them, at least. Many blessings from the fishes. Thank you very much, Sir Salmons.
Thank you, Sir Salmons.
And that concludes our list of producers who came in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles a note to be read on the show. We've got a few more producers to thank here on our way out, and that's starting with producer Jimmy R.
Thank you, Jimmy R.
Jimmy R comes in for $7.17. Thank you very much. Next, we have producer Jackie U.
Thank you, Jackie U.
Jackie U comes in for $2.77. Thank you very much, Jackie U. For some reason, I have lost the number on Jackie U's producership. So she's on a streak.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's on a streak.
Women rule!
I'm looking. I think she's on 16 episodes in a row, which means we missed her Rocket Man jingle.
Rocket Man, burning out his fuse out here alone.
Thank you very much, Jackie U. Next, we've got Sir Casey the Shield Knight. There he is. And he's on a streak, of course.
Quicker.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, is coming in 108. Wait.
No.
109. 110.
110?
No, I had to recount.
Oh,
yes,
my gosh.
because we had him on 108 for 2 episodes in a row.
Oh, no.
Yes, which means the last episode was 109, which means today is 1010.
1010, the most mysterious number between 109 and 111.
I think, unless I'm completely wrong, let me just double check this. We had him on 107 on, what was this, the 19th. We had him on 108 on the 21st. Wait, dang it. I keep counting so wrong. It's so high. So 108. No, it is 109 today. Okay. 109.
Okay,
yes,
well, we take that back then.
We take it back because he's 10. He's been 10 ahead of
10 ahead of Sir Scott. Yeah, right. Yeah. There's a 10 episode gap.
I should have never questioned my original number there.
Yeah, Sir Casey and Sir Scott are linked at the
10.
At the 10. Thank you. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, with a pocket full of 3s.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got the first Streak sister, Gail M.
On a streak?
75 episode streak.
We're going streaking! Come on, everybody, we're going!
Then we got the second streak sister, Veronica D, on a streak. 75 episodes in a row.
We're going streaking! Come on, everybody, we're going!
There we go. Now we have Runk Smash back in the game for 16.19 Doge.
Is this a crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
And Runk Smash's streak has been reset. Yes, he wants to enjoy the lower level streak jingles, which is
the wrong stuff.
the first time this has ever happened. A purposeful reset of the streak, which is fun and almost feels like it needs some sort of taxonomy that I do not have any inspiration on.
I was just gonna give him the Great Reset jingle just because he has his own Great Reset.
That's what it is.
We need a Great Reset.
There you go. You've been Great Resetted, Runk Smash.
That was Runk Smash looking at himself in the mirror this morning.
Yes.
Just need his best Klaus impression.
Love it.
Really
there you
resonated.
go, Runk Smash. Happy to facilitate the Great Reset for you. Last but not least, we've got producer Amanda P on a streak.
Amanda P on a streak.
On a streak.
Women rule.
Right. Comes in with 3s and fees, and today is a big streak for Amanda P. She has officially reached the level of Illuminated Lizard Master Shill with 33 episodes in a row.
Officially solidified Illuminated Lizard Master Shill.
The most exciting streak.
Most exciting streak. There you go, and that concludes our list of financial producers for this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, episode 437.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Okay, should we wake up?
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
And it's time for some politic. Oh, no, we're doing Space Pulp Reptilian.
Mm-hmm.
Aha, here we go.
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia.
You found it.
Reptilian.
I did.
I'm glad you found it.
This is
we're gonna need it a lot in the coming weeks.
I know, yeah. This is AmericaMagazine.org, otherwise known as the Jesuit Review.
Mm-hmm.
As a Russian invasion of Ukraine looms, Pope Francis calls for a World Day of Prayer. And it says here, As tensions increase in Europe over fears of a Russian invasion of Ukraine, Pope Francis has issued a heartfelt call for a World Day of Prayer for Peace on January 26. Quote, I am following with concern an increase of tension that threaten to inflict a new blow to the peace in Ukraine and call into question the security of the European continent with wider repercussions, he told pilgrims in St. Peter's Square on Sunday, January 22nd, which is kind of weird because Sunday was the 23rd. Come on, Jesuit Review. Get your calendar straight, unless you're on a different timeline, Jesuits. Looking at you. Okay. Russia has amassed some 100,000 troops and military hardware on its border with Ukraine, as well as Belarus, on the northern side of the Ukraine, while the Ukraine government has told its 43 million people to prepare for war. Ukraine is the second largest country in Europe in terms of size after Russia and was part of the USSR until it regained its independence in 1991 following the dissolution of the Soviet Union. And it goes into a little more of the history here. I think, Basil, they're setting this up, the Russia-Ukraine tension, the Pope having some kind of day of prayer over it, feels like to me that there's going to be some action here. You know, if the Jesuits are rolling out the prayer call, it seems like they have something a little more planned for the next few days and weeks.
Yeah, there's certainly plenty of signals that something very well could happen. Yeah, well, you know, that is kind of the way the Jesuits work as far as the organization is concerned. You know, there is a lot of this messaging and communication that happens, right? And that very well may be what we're seeing. I mean, there are so many signals that are pointing towards Russia making a move on this, and but this may be, yeah, you're right, one of the more sort of esoteric and definitive signals that we should take heed of.
The Pope says a lot of things all the time. He's always in the news. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, this particular article struck me, and this news about the Pope calling for the prayer for the Russia-Ukraine situation seems to me like it is, drawing the attention. Why draw the attention if something wasn't going to go down? So it leads us into the politics of it all.
Yeah.
It's Latin for many. Tick. Now suck your blood. Politics. Your blood.
This is coming from MSN.com, mirrored from The Guardian. Headline, White House says Biden refining plans for all scenarios over Ukraine, Russia. Live, it says. Live, updated. President to hold video call with European leaders over escalating crisis. Follow all the day's politics news. Biden has finished his call with European leaders on the crisis in Ukraine, which the White House says lasted more than an hour. Woo! I had a very, very, very good meeting. Total unanimity with all the European leaders. We'll talk about it later.
Interesting. Sorry to cut you off.
Okay. Do you have a difference?
Yeah, it's different.
You don't have the updated version pulled up.
I don't, but my version has live updated at 1933. And all the quotes start at 1933, interestingly enough. Let me refresh.
I'm doing updates. They start at 2235.
Okay.
So a lot has happened since we started the show.
Here we go, 2235. Okay.
Yeah. So great quote from the president. I had a very, very, very good meeting. The president told CNN's chief White House correspondent the U.S. had placed 8,500 troops on heightened alert to deploy to Europe as NATO reinforced its eastern borders with warships and fighter jets. There are growing fears of a possible lightning attack by Russia to seize the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, which is apparently what we're supposed to call it now, Kyiv. More details.
It's not Kyiv?
I've always called it Kiev, but everybody in the mainstream has been calling it Kyiv. Huh. I guess, yeah.
Somebody can tell us who knows better.
Let's see here. An update on 2225. Hi, all. Sam Levin in Los Angeles here, taking over our live coverage for the rest of the day. Okay.
All right, Sam Levin, you're in the saddle. Let's go.
Yeah. Just
Let's
a little.
do it.
Little waving of the hi, I'm Sam Levin. This is me now. A prosecutor has alleged that. Whoa, yeah, what?
What is this about?
What? Sam Levin, why are you updating us on Michael Avenatti
and Stormy Daniels?
Stormy Daniels.
Some bring back some old Trump stuff. What?
This is just like a weird RSS feed or something. Of updates.
You got to scroll down to 2145 to get back to the Russia stuff.
This is annoying. Okay, 2123, 2129. They're talking about Trump and grand jury, Secretary of Defense. Okay, heightened alert. We've got the. It's
like the minutes for the broadcast or something.
I don't like what they're doing here.
Here, do you want
to? We should just get a regular article.
I thought this was a regular article. I didn't know this was a minutes list of the news feed.
No, that's
the news broadcast.
Exactly what this is.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That is so annoying. All right, this is bad. We need a better article.
Okay. Well, I think the next one technically has to do with Russia and Ukraine too. I mean, there's not like. And we can get into it here. It's more.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's stuff happening today. Why don't you read about the cyber attacks while I look for something else?
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic. Russia.
Okay, yeah, enough Russia there. This is ABC News. DHS warns of Russian cyber attack on U.S. if it responds to Ukraine invasion. It feels like they're just setting up for the big switch to turn off, the internet switch. Mm-hmm. As tensions rise in the standoff over Ukraine, the Department of Homeland Security has warned that the U.S. response to a possible Russian invasion could result in a cyber attack launched against the U.S. by the Russian government or its proxies. Quote, we assess that Russia would consider initiating a cyber attack against the homeland if it perceived a U.S. or NATO response to a possible Russian invasion of Ukraine threatened its long-term national security, the DHS intelligence and analysis bulletin sent to law enforcement agencies around the country and obtained by ABC News said. The bulletin was dated January 23rd, 2022. Russia, DHS said, has a, quote, Russia, DHS said, has a, quote, range of offensive cyber tools that it could deploy against U.S. networks. And the attacks could range from a low-level denial of service attack to destructive attacks targeting critical infrastructure. Quote, we assess that Russia's threshold for conducting disruptive or destructive cyber attacks in the homeland probably remains very high, and we have not observed Moscow directly employ these types of cyber attacks against U.S. critical infrastructure, notwithstanding cyber espionage and potential pre-positioning operations in the past, the bulletin said. Last year, cybercriminals based in Russia caused two of the most destructive cyber attacks in recent history, the U.S. has said. Colonial Pipeline was the victim of a ransomware attack in May 2021, shutting down operations and causing widespread outages across the country, and meat supplier JBS had its operation shut down due to Russian-based hackers. Or so we were told. We didn't know it was Russia.
It's funny that they're just sort of, that was the thing with a lot of the hacks happening at the time, which was coincidentally right when they, when Klaus came out and started talking about the cyber pandemic.
Yeah.
They were, it was disputed whether these were Russia-based hackers or if they were just proxying through Russia.
Just some Russian IP
addresses. It could have literally
addresses.
been anybody who proxied through Russia.
Yeah. Plus, wasn't the whole spyware, Pegasus spyware, wasn't that all? That was all coming out last year too, and they didn't associate that with any of these hacks here.
No, not that I remember.
But they could have had something to do with each other. Russia, back to the article, is also responsible for the SolarWinds breach in late 2020, the U.S. has said, where the U.S. says Russia-backed cybercriminals gained access to 10 U.S. government agencies, including the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Commerce. Well, if they actually got a hold of it, then everything you've been saying as the U.S. has said Could be Russian propaganda, just so you know, ABC News.
Yeah.
DHS says Russia, quote, continues to target and gain access to critical infrastructure in the U.S., but Russia does not limit itself to conducting cyber operations just in the U.S. The bulletin said in 2015 and 2016, Russian military intelligence assets launched a cyber attack against Ukraine's power grid. Although the bulletin doesn't mention it, Ukrainian officials most recently pointed the finger at Russia for another cyber outage, shutting down government websites. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told reporters last week that the U.S. is on a, quote, heightened alert for cyber attacks given geopolitical landscape. He told reporters at the U.S. Conference of Mayors on Thursday that it is, quote, difficult to calibrate the likelihood of something happening. Quote, the whole point is, when the specter of harm arises, we call for vigilance, and quite frankly, in the cybersecurity arena, ever-present vigilance is what we call for, he said. Another word for, we need more surveillance and data gathering of all cyber activity.
Need it, must have.
We must have it. We got to fight against the Russians. Give us your data to protect you. Okay, did you find something for the Russia,
I'm
Ukraine?
looking at this is a USA Today sort of big rundown. It also includes some of the more recent things. So I think we can go from this.
Okay.
Through the archive there for you.
Yeah.
Because USA Today is a paywall for some reason.
Yeah.
Here's a headline. Putin, and this is kind of the most recent fear-mongering going on about this. Putin won't stop with Ukraine. Why Americans should care about Russia's aggression against its neighbor. Because we've been seeing a lot of this. Like, okay, why do we care so much about Ukraine? There's a big, movement, a sort of non-interventionary attitude. Like, why do we care so much about Ukraine? Why do we care so much about whatever? And I understand arguments on either side of it. But I think it's important to note how the media wants us to feel. Remember, human beings are very reactive to feeling how people want them to feel. And that's kind of the whole point of corporate news media propaganda. So let's see how the news wants us to feel about this. Like I said, the headline, Putin won't stop with Ukraine. Why Americans should care about Russia's aggression against its neighbor. The U.S. was still deep in diplomatic discussions with Russia over the crisis in Ukraine when President Joe Biden succinctly summed up what's at stake.
Where's the quote?
I know. They don't actually give a quote. Well, they do. Here it is. Another Russian invasion of the former Soviet Republic would be, quote, the most consequential thing that's happened in the world in terms of war and peace since World War II. That's a pretty big statement there, Biden.
Yeah, it's almost as the same as COVID being the 9/11.
The most, yes, the 9/11, yeah.
Yeah.
Or more like January 6th.
Or January 6th
like
is 9/11.
A 9/11 style thing. Yeah, and to keep in mind, okay, so what is the most consequential thing that's happened in the world in terms of war and peace since World War II, Biden said. So he's saying the Russian invasion of Ukraine is more consequential than, well, I don't know, the Vietnam War,
the Korean
war
War
in Afghanistan, the Korean War, and those are just our wars. There's wars going on all the time that aren't even ours. And he's saying that Russia invading Ukraine is more consequential than that. Now, why? What's the hidden context in there? The hidden context in there is, oh, you thought things were bad during the Vietnam War or the Korean War, when like large portions of that generation had to be shipped off and fight other countries. He's sort of signaling here that, like, yeah, a bunch of a bunch of Americans are going to have to go off and fight Russians right now, or could, is kind of the underlying thing he's talking about, which is completely ludicrous. Well, let's see what else he says. Biden's analysis. Delivering.
Yummy.
Analysis. Delivered during a White House news conference in January, spelled out in stark terms why Americans should care about the fate of the Eastern European nation that's roughly the size of Texas and is known for golden sunflowers, the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, and being the spark for Donald Trump's first impeachment saga.
Oh my gosh.
Notice how they don't mention Hunter Biden's main employer at a Ukrainian, oil company, where Hunter Biden, Biden's son, was sat on the board of a oil company for no reason and made $50,000 a month and had emails talking about how some of that money was being sent to the big guy, presumably Biden.
Yeah.
Okay.
His father.
Don't need to mention that Ukrainian info, but just the Donald Trump thing and Chernobyl. The latest conflict is rooted in Russian President Vladimir Putin's desire to reestablish the influence that Russia wielded under the Soviet Empire. Foreign policy experts say the U.S. in turn wants to keep Russian aggression in check while working to strengthen a struggling democracy that has become more closely aligned with the West. Yes, Biden must defend his son's business interests in the Ukraine. And just not to have to review the whole thing, but it's something like half of Congress is involved with business interests in the Ukraine. Yeah. So it makes sense that they would be setting up this, the foundation to go protect Ukraine because Russia bad. And not to mention that, half of Congress has a lot of interest in Ukraine maintaining its Western connections, especially business connections. The U.S. has already spent billions of dollars to help Ukraine build up its military defenses, an investment that's likely to escalate dramatically if Russia invades. While Biden has said the U.S. would not send troops to help defend Ukraine against Russian forces, he said the U.S. would likely send more American forces to other Eastern European countries, including Poland and Romania.
Poland, and then it goes into Romania, Scotland, Albania. Go ahead.
Nice. Then it goes into kind of a subheading that says the spark for wider war. And it kind of gives the whole background of Ukraine and its independence from the Soviet Union and this and that. It's, that kind of thing. But this is where it gets to the super scary part. You have to keep in mind, Gonz. Russia won't stop with Ukraine. A Russian invasion of Ukraine would spread fear across the region and would almost certainly lead to a further buildup of NATO forces in other Eastern European countries, foreign policy experts warn. Quote, if the Russians succeed in reestablishing a sphere of influence or of dominating Ukraine, they won't stop there. They will continue, Taylor said. The Poles and the Romanians, the Czechs, will be very concerned as they see Russian tanks coming west from Russia into Ukraine toward them, and they will ask for reinforcements from the United States. A successful Russian invasion of Ukraine, Taylor said, could embolden Russia to be more aggressive in other areas, such as cyber attacks, election meddling, and influence campaigns designed to undermine Western democracy.
Almost like they're setting them up to be the culprits of a destruction of Western democracies.
And I really do not see the connection between them, perpetrating a military invasion of Ukraine and hacking. Like, why would they feel more comfortable hacking now that they have a military invasion of Ukraine? I don't see how they're connected, but it's just a good way to bring that up.
Everything's scary.
Other U.S. adversaries also will be watching to see whether the Biden administration and its NATO allies will follow through with their warnings to answer a Russian invasion with devastating economic sanctions and additional shipments of weapons to Ukraine and other Eastern European countries. Quote, NATO and the U.S. credibility are on the line, says Will Pomerantz, acting director of the Wilson Center Keenan Institute, a think tank dedicated to Russian and Eurasia research. Quote, and if they fail, that will be taken by China and other adversaries as a willingness by the West to defend its interests.
As an unwillingness, yeah.
Right. Let me do that again. Quote, and if they fail, that will be taken by China and other adversaries as an unwillingness by the West to defend its interests. And it goes on and on and on about Putin and stuff like that.
Puts the U.S. in a tough spot there.
Yeah, well,
maybe it was meant to.
Exactly. And that's notice not a lot of mention of the pipeline, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
Not a lot, not once.
Not a single mention of the pipeline, which is sort of the biggest
infrastructure, the actual tangible stuff.
Yeah, which is set to deliver natural gas from Russia to Europe, specifically starting with Germany. And Russia can't do that without opening up some of these geographical locations. Poland has already made a very strong stance that they're not going to let this Russian pipeline come through. I haven't seen a specific quote from Romania about that, but I have to assume they're on similar footing. I know Latvia and Lithuania and that whole area has no interest in letting the Russians build a pipeline for their own economic gain at the cost of these, smaller former Soviet states. But you really have the Central Europeans, the Germans, and I think the French stand to gain from the pipeline. There's a couple other countries who are on the list where they're like, we don't really care about you, Poland and other former Soviet states. Thank you for being the barrier between us and Russia for so very long. But just let a little bit of Russia in, please, so we can have all their gas. And that's really been the big problem. And that's another thing about this Ukraine issue that does not get brought up a lot. It's an economic move to be able to, have very strong economic ties with Central Europe. And Germany was sort of letting it happen for the longest time. But apparently Biden is such a skilled diplomat that he changed their mind, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. Sorry. Meow, meow, meow. We'll see.
Meow, meow, meow. I am curious why Newsweek pulled the article that they had. U.S. may face cyber attacks if Russia aid Ukraine deemed threatening. And Newsweek just deleted the article. So, interesting.
Did they?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah, me too. But this whole thing seems to have to do with the New World Order.
A New World Order. New World Order. New World Order.
According to the Financial Times, this is a headline: Russia and China's plans for a new world order. Again, it's an article you can share with friends, family who think that the idea of a new world order is crazy. No, Financial Times saying how Russia and China are planning for a new world order. For Moscow and Beijing, the Ukraine crisis is part of a struggle to reduce American power and make the world safe for autocrats.
Whee!
And it says here, the Western Alliance has threatened the Kremlin with massive and unprecedented sanctions if Russia attacks Ukraine. Actually, I think I have a Joe Biden clip to Putin.
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
Yeah, real scary. But as the Ukraine crisis reaches boiling point, Western efforts to isolate and punish Russia are likely to be undermined by the support of China, Russia's giant neighbor. So if China and Russia combine forces, the U.S. is maybe outdone here. When Vladimir Putin travels to Beijing for the beginning of the Winter Olympics on February 4, the Russian president will meet with the leader who has become his most important ally, Xi Jinping of China. In a phone call between Putin and Xi in December, the Chinese leader supported Russia's demand that Ukraine must never join NATO. A decade ago, such a relationship seemed unlikely. China and Russia were as much rivals as partners. But after a period when both countries have sparred persistently with the U.S., Xi's support for Putin reflects a growing identity between the interests and worldviews of Moscow and Beijing. According to the Chinese media, Xi told Putin that, quote, certain international forces are arbitrarily interfering in the internal affairs of China and Russia under the guise of democracy and human rights. Ooh, those are pretty strong words.
The guys.
Yeah, pretty strong words against U.S. As Xi's remarks to Putin made clear, the Russian and Chinese leaders are united by a belief that the U.S. is plotting to undermine and overthrow their governments. In the heyday of communism, Russia and China supported revolutionary forces around the world, but today Moscow and Beijing have embraced the rhetoric of counter-revolution. When unrest broke out in Kazakhstan recently, Putin accused the U.S. of attempting to sponsor a, quote, color revolution, a term given to protest movements that seek to change the government in a country that borders both Russia and China. Senior Chinese ministers echoed those remarks. You know what the problem, part of the problem with this is that like Beijing, Putin and Xi here, as much as they have egregious activity in, that their countries have done, the U.S. is just as bad. And when they mention bad stuff about the U.S., it's probably true, but it's true of the intelligence agency. But unfortunately for these geopolitical saber rattlings, the U.S. is represented by our intelligence and military. So it's like, great. But yeah, we've done horrible things too. And yeah, I guess they're using that as a point to come together. What's the phrase? Your enemy is, what was it? Your enemy is my enemy or something?
The enemy of your enemy is your friend.
The enemy of your enemy is your friend. Yeah.
Is my friend.
My friend. Whatever
your
the
friend.
Is.
Our
whatever.
friend.
Yes. We're all friends. As Russia and China see it, though, the uprising in Kazakhstan fitted a pattern. Fitted a pattern. The Kremlin has long argued that the U.S. was the hidden hand behind Ukraine's maiden uprising of 2013-14, in which a pro-Russian leader was overthrown. China also insists that foreign forces for which read the U.S. were behind the huge Hong Kong protests in 2019, which were eventually ended by a crackdown ordered from Beijing. Which, yes, that was pretty much the communist takeover of Hong Kong. Both Putin and Xi have also made clear they believe that America's ultimate goal is to overthrow the Russian and Chinese governments, and that local pro-democracy forces are America's Trojan horse. See, that's where I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, there could be some that think that, but for the most part, I don't think the U.S. in general are like, we must take over Russia and China. But I don't know. Maybe our intelligence agencies are.
Well, they certainly want something. I mean, we know the establishment wants conflict. The whole machine runs on conflict. Yeah. I mean, that is in the definition of, the military-industrial complex. The military-industrial complex does not work without constant conflict. And since we pulled out of the gold mine of conflict that was Afghanistan, they've just been itching ever since to get into another conflict because it's the source of economic, it's the fuel for the economic engine that is a military-industrial complex. And, we may have gotten out of Afghanistan, but the machine is still the machine and it needs to be fed. And that's what we're seeing now. We pulled out of Afghanistan in August. And it's, what is that? So it's been 4 months since, maybe 5 months since the military-industrial complex has had the fuel that it's gotten so used to for 20 years. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could go back and listen to our episodes back in August, pulling out of Afghanistan. And the first thing we're talking about is, this is unfortunate because this means another conflict has to begin in order to keep the machine going. And when you have a Congress and a government as a whole that is economically incentivized to have the country in armed military conflict, surprise, surprise, you have forces and incentives and motivations at every level of the government to get us back into a conflict, because there's billions of dollars, not just for, arms dealers, manufacturers, and distributors, as well as, private contractors, security contractors, mercenaries, things like that. But, even companies like aircraft companies who, the airline industry is suffering now, not selling a whole lot of planes. Well, what's the other option? Make military planes. It's really, when you talk about the military industrial complex, it's not just gun makers who benefit from war. It's the politicians who own stakes in the gun makers or have lobbyists who are, paying some certain bills. You've got investments from the entire ruling elite class. And you've got corporations who are trying to recover from a government, imposed economic pullback with the justification of the pandemic, who need a little boost, need a little economic boost with no war and no, industry slowed. The only answer is an armed conflict to re-inject some economic movement within the system. And, with the inflation that we're facing, with the economic downturn, Dow lost 1,000 points, with all sorts of crazy stuff happening, the solution is an old medicine. It's an old medicine that we've seen applied over and over again to this country, and it's war. And the people at the top, the elite infrastructure, they know if they can get in an armed conflict, not only does it help hide economic wrongdoing and bad choices, but it also will help fuel not only their own portfolios, but will put fuel back into the machine and keep things running. They could print as much as they could print without destroying things. Now they need to destroy things so they don't have to print.
Yeah. Sorry. For some reason, while you were talking, you shrank to like Oompa Loompa size. I had to fix you.
I'm so little.
Let me read a couple more paragraphs here, and I think this summarizes the point here. Two features of the current world order that the Russians and the Chinese frequently object to are unipolarity and universality. Put more simply, they believe that the current arrangements give America too much power, and they are determined to change that. Quote, unipolarity means that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the world was left with only one superpower, the U.S. Fyodor Lukyanov, a Russian foreign policy thinker who is close to President Putin, believes that unipolarity, quote, gave the U.S. the ability and possibility to do whatever it saw fit on the world stage. He argues that the new age of American hegemony was ushered in by the Gulf War of 1991, in which the U.S. assembled a global coalition to drive Saddam Hussein's Iraq out of Kuwait. And it goes on with NATO, the 90s, all the stuff that happened in the Middle East, 9/11. It goes through everything. But this is interesting. For Russia and China to make its move right when the U.S. looks the weakest with this guy.
Armageddon's on the way.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
He's the president of the U.S. It feels like the perfect time for Russia and China. Like, Biden said he'd bring people together, so he's doing it. He's brought Xi and Putin together to fight us.
Biden is such a great uniter. That's what he claimed. That's what he ran on.
I know he ran on. He's going to bring
the country, unite our enemies, unite everybody.
He did it,
and he's really following through.
He's done it with this China-Russia alliance against the U.S. But he's gonna have to. Biden's gonna have to pull some real magic tricks, to join the crew. Call up Putin and Xi there.
I think
he's
it's all part of the plan.
Come on, guys, let me in.
Come on, I'll start a war for you.
Yeah, I'll give you $1 billion. We gave Ukraine $1 billion for listening to us.
Yeah, just let my son sit on the board of the oil company again, okay? Please, guys.
All right.
All right. Well, I think I've said all I have to say about the current situation. There was that really weird set of that news cycle last week where the mainstream media was talking about how Russia was pulling false flags or planned to pull false flags in Ukraine, which was really interesting to see the corporate media admit that false flags existed.
Yeah.
The very idea that false flags existed has been, conspiracy theory and wacko, debunked, baseless, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to getting Americans fired up to go to war with Russia, false flags. Yeah, they happen all the time. Not us. We don't do it, but Russia does. They're bad.
Yeah, well, that's how propaganda works. Okay, are you good?
I'm good.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
This is our second break where we thank producers who come in with their time and talent. And we do that because Canary Cry News Talk here, we consider ourselves a place to not just go through the news, but also get some release from it together as a community. We consider it a place for therapeutic reflection of our troubling time, and we express that with art, music, jingles, ISOs, laughter, most importantly. And we thank producers who come in with all that. We're going to thank the timestamper first here, and I believe the timestamps came from... I thought I put this in here, Basil. Did you like change the thing or?
No, I didn't touch nothing.
Huh. Hold on. I might have put it in the wrong day. Did I change
your jingle board?
No, I mean, it's possible. It's possible that I put it in the wrong day.
Oh, you're asking who did timestamps?
Yeah, but
it was Christine C. I believe.
Christine C. Here it is. Oh, yep, there it is. Thank you, Christine C. Appreciate it. Sorry about that. Here you go.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
I think Christine C had some issues trying to post it on the YouTube channel. Sometimes YouTube comments are not friendly to people trying to post links or timestamps.
No.
But thank you very much, Christine C. I appreciate doing timestamp for episode number 436. Man. I've done a lot of episodes. But now we're going to thank some people for their audio production. Move the board around. Now I can't find stuff.
I believe in you.
I know. I'm sorry. This is, I told you that it's great that we have the new thing, but it's just going to take a while to
Oh, that's fine. You just got to cover when you're looking for it. You just got to do something like, and next we have our audio production people we're going to thank. Yeah, that's right. There's plenty of ways to produce the show.
Audio production.
There you go.
First up, we have Psalm 40. Send in a note and a song. Happy Monday, y'all. Hope you had a blessed Sabbath and a peaceful weekend. Here we have track 7, The Calling. It covers Jubilees 11 through 14 and Genesis 12. I really appreciate the extra stories we get about Abraham's life in Jubilees and Jasher. But after this song, I go back to strictly reading the canon. Enjoy and God bless. So let's get a little taste of what is this? Track 7, The Calling. I'm going to start it in the middle here. Let's see.
Established kingdoms. All the people began to do evil, to acquire arms, and to teach their sons war. They made for themselves molten images, and they worshipped them. They began to craft idols, and malignant spirits seduced them into transgression. The adversary exerted himself to do all of this, and he sent forth other spirits.
We'll play the whole thing in after the show, so you can check it out. It's pretty cool. Very good. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Psalm
love
40.
It. Make sure to check out the Canary Cry mixtape.
Thank you very much, Psalm 40. Next up, we have a little ISO here from Becca. And Becca sent in a note here. Hey, B&G. It's been a minute since I've been able to produce financially, but I left my rating and review last week, and here's an audio clip to hopefully make up for it. Oh, what happened to the audio clip?
It's here.
Oh, no.
And it says, I hope it works well for when we fill out our bingo cards. Love and hugs from a sister in Christ, Becca B. That's Bibu Zuzu, and the official Doctor Who Dundat and Learbag fan club.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, because we played it earlier, right?
Yep.
So what happened to it?
I don't know, man. I'm just over here hanging out in the metaverse. You're there doing your thing. You played it at the top of the show.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I had it.
Okay.
And it's gone.
You want to just download it again or something?
No. Okay. Let me just look for one more spot here. Okay, here it is. Here we go.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
There it is. That's the ISO we're looking for. Thank you very much, Becca, for finding that. And yes, we will use the ISO until a jingle is also created using the ISO. But maybe we can get a clean feed, a clean play of it, so the jinglers can grab it and do something with it, huh?
All right. Yep. Perfect. All right. I think that's it for the audio production today. Thank you very much, Psalm 40 and Becca.
Oh, I was going to let you play a clean thing without me talking over it.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
There it is. Okay, thank you very much, Becca and Psalm 40.
Let's do some art.
One art, please.
And let's start things off with Dame Allie.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
Cover your eyes, snowflakes.
Oh.
Sassy Miss Green M&M ain't got nothing on this go-go boot-wearing canary. Look at them heels. These boots are made for walking straight to the top perch at the boardroom, kicking all the naysayers in the shins on the way.
Yep. Thank you very much, Dame Allie. She did it. She took the mind creation of my ramblings and made it into a beautiful picture of a very detailed canary. Wonderful feathering there. But this is not just any canary. This canary is wearing white go-go boots. The green M&M doesn't need them anymore, so it's time for the canary to don them and really make a statement, get some buzz going about the show. Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
I wonder if we can take a look at the reflection on the eyeball of the canary to see where the canary is.
Oh, see if it's a lizard canary or a
I don't think the
canary
canary is a lizard per se, but I think she might be in the presence of a cube.
Oh, a cube.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just seeing things now.
Oh, he's tripping out, man. He's
tripping out on your art, Allie.
Going in it. Thank you very much, Allie. This is beautiful.
Yep, love it. Perfect for making things that we say come to life, which is always very entertaining for us, to see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one here from Sir Dove, Knight of Respeltia.
One art piece from Dove.
And Dove sent us a note. Peace. It's wait, I read from the wrong spot. So today's episode marks 100 in a row I've produced art for.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Should we give him the just a little John Streaker
We should give him the 100 jingle.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
100 times.
Wow. Bruh. It's 100 episodes in a row that Dove has produced art for. Had that as a goal when I first did episode 337 and had to navigate broken bones, traveling, and a baby to achieve it.
Oh my gosh. The devotion is incredible.
Wins. Sir Dove wins.
The commitment, the commitment is out of control.
Well, Allie too, but
yeah. I was going to say, Allie also on a similar path.
Yeah.
But we need to do some counting for Allie, that's for sure.
Wanted to put together a poster of all of last year's show art. I did and tried to fit as many on it as I could. The wife and I tried counting them a couple times, but just gave up. It's around 45 to 50, though. It's set to be a 36 by 24 inch poster that you guys could put in one of the supply drops if you want, or just share it on the show. Really grateful to be part of the Canarium and to get to use my art in this way. The value for value model really makes you feel like part of the fam and not just a fan. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins. Thank you very much, Dove. Sir Dove.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sir Dove. And yes, what a wonderful note. We feel the same way. Our artists are a part of the family. They're the part of the production team, and the show would not be the same without them. So thank you very much for all your work. And here, it's right, we've got a mega collage of a ton of Sir Dove's artwork in one big poster. Yeah, this might be fun to put some stuff like this together for the supply drop. I don't even think this is all of it.
No.
Because I have one in mind that I'm not seeing, which is the Roman newscast with what's his face? What was it? What's the
I'm blanking. I don't know. Roman newscast, huh?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the reporter's name. He's the CNN guy.
Chris Shilzilla?
No.
Oh, Anderson Pooper?
Anderson Pooper, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And he's like a Roman newscaster, and they're reporting on the I think Alex Jones is some sort of Roman conspiracy theorist type of thing. I don't see that one on here, so this is definitely not all of them, but it is a bunch of them. And very cool. Yeah, we'll see what it takes to get some posters made up. This might be fun to do for all the artists, maybe in one of the supply drops. We got a Dove poster, we got an Alley poster, of course, and then go through the list of artists. One of our producers, now there's a lot of producers that do a lot of work that gets featured on the show, but there's also producers that help out with stuff in the background. And one of our producers, I will ask permission to see if we can give them credit, but they just went through and cataloged all of the art since we've been doing art for the show.
That's crazy.
Artists. Yeah. So we've got a big old folder with all the art listed by producer name, artist name, that kind of stuff. So we could just start putting together these massive posters filled with the art by each artist.
It'll be a good infographic.
Yeah.
And if we get enough, we can do a mosaic, you pull back far enough, it's a googly eye or googly eyes. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, like what is that called? Yes, it's like the mosaic where it's placed in a way that creates an image. I think there's some like online generators that could help us with that.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Love it.
Thank you, Sir
Dove.
A
lot of the hits in here. And this is just like some of the illustrations he's done freehand. This doesn't even have the street team flyers or the stickers or the, some of his other graphic art or the physical art that he does. So,
the Canary Cry Street Team website that you put together, showed that to the wife. And she was flipping through, and I said, "This is one of our artists' art, Sir Dove." And she's flipping through, and she goes, "No wonder you guys are banned." I was like, "What is that supposed to mean? It's not about it. We weren't banned because of Dove's art. It's what we say.
Yeah, it's because
it's not the artwork." Anyway, I just thought it was funny. She was like, "No wonder," and I'm like, "Really? No, I don't think the tardigrades."
No.
First blood is what did it. I think it's...
If anything, the artists, give us some credibility.
Yeah, they allow
that we're not
to
just
stay.
Rambling, that there's actually some things happening here. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. We got more art to go
All
through
right.
here.
Thank you, Sir Dove. Next up, we have Mr. Jag. That's the Hungry Hungarian. Good to hear from him. And did Mr. Jag have a note? Let me see. Let me double check that real quick. I don't think he had a note. Did he?
I didn't see one. No.
Huh. Now I'm totally not seeing his email at all.
Doesn't he come in on the Proton Mail?
I thought so.
Okay.
But he didn't. He came in on Gmail today. And, here we go. All right, that makes more sense.
You didn't put the note in before the show.
I did not.
This is our new thing
I did not. Yeah, I did not for this one. The image is captioned President Biden. It is a hybrid of Biden and President Xi.
Oh, yeah. I was pronouncing it Ziden.
Ziden.
Yeah.
Ziden.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't have it pulled up here, so I need it on the stream.
Well, it's been on the stream for at least 10 seconds. So.
Okay. Well, I know, but I'm on a lag. I see our stream much later than you do. But yes, here we go. A beautiful portrait of sort of a Two-Face type of character. You know, the Batman villain, and half of it is Biden, half of it is Xi. It kind of looks like if Biden, if he had sort of a stroke on half of his face, it would start looking like President Xi. Yeah, but it's like Biden and Winnie the Pooh put together.
Oh.
Like Biden is transforming into Winnie the Pooh. Love it. Thank you very much, Mr. Jag. Your art lately has been a real pleasure.
Appreciate it, Mr. Jag. Moving on here, we have one from Grace, Miss G Beauty.
Whee!
And she had, let me pull it up here. It was more. Oh,
was this the bingo cards?
Yeah, before that, though, he's hello, Basil and Gonz. More Basil for this. I had a bunch of normal size bingo cards and forgot to send them. I had my niece over the past week and got busy. Here are the cards I promised because of how you. Or how they are saved. You may get the blank bingo and 7x7 bingo as well, which you have. Let me know how the quality is, if the quality is not up to par. What I have a drawing of a. It's like a hand drawing of.
That's a two separate thing, Gonz. We need to start paying more attention to putting this art section together in the pre-show. Because apparently somebody needs a little help here. So. First of all, if you go to Canary Cry Bingo, Gonz, what we have received from Miss G Beauty is 10 additional 5x5 2022 bingo cards, which is very exciting. I think I mentioned it at the top of the show. And Miss G Beauty heard the call and made it happen. So there is the OG 7x7 card if you want to play the game on Expert. But if you want to play a more traditional bingo, Canary Cry Bingo game, over at CanaryCry.Bingo.com is now 10 additional, like shuffled cards that you can pick one and play that one. And it's 5x5, so a little easier to get a bingo. And they are all different. So, if you got multiple people in your household or your family who are playing together, now everybody can pick a separate card and do it that way. So that's very cool and a great piece to the Canary Cry Bingo infrastructure, Miss G Beauty. Thank you very much.
Were you the one that cut and pasted the note in there? Or did I do that?
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
I did it.
Okay, the part of the note that's missing here, this makes more sense. Okay, so back to this drawing here, and let me read the note. Here's some art from my youngest niece from my sister. She's 7. My nieces love chickens and have many chickens, even though recently many are in the freezer.
That's what happens with chickens.
She loved that you were wanting to get chickens, so she drew a picture of your chickens and cats interacting. One of your chickens is on the back of a Monty, and one cat is chasing a chicken. You must name one of your chickens Gandalf the Grey in honor of my nieces. Well, there you go.
Okay. Yeah. I'll get some, once I start my chicken journey,
Yep.
I will definitely be reaching out to Miss G Beauty to get some chicken tips.
You got to name one Gandalf the Grey, apparently.
Oh yeah. If I ever, if my chicken journey ever launches, there will definitely be a chicken update on the show pretty regularly.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, and we already showed the bingo cards, the extra bingo cards that came in. Thank you very much, Miss G Beauty. And I think that's it for... Oh, we got the... is there anything else from Miss G Beauty?
Yeah, we got some stuff from Lloyd.
We got Lloyd V. Lloyd V came in, and let me see here. We have a note from Lloyd V. Dear Basil and Gonz, hereby delivered to you... Oh, this is a jingle. Why is a jingle in here? Okay. Apparently, I messed up.
You're killing me, man.
Dude, I must have just not done it this right, apparently.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, hold on. So technically, this is supposed to be an audio. Yeah, and changing it up like this definitely messed me up today. Sorry about that. You gave me another role to take in this whole thing.
There's no role. I just said we should post the note.
I know, and doing
in
that,
our document.
Doing that completely messed me up. So okay,
I know, and it's actually made things much. Hold on, just so everybody knows.
Okay,
I'm trying to speed up the art section, and one way I thought this could happen is if we put the notes from the artists right here in our document instead of searching for them through the email every single time. But we did get some notes in there, but apparently it caused a domino reaction, a chain reaction, Chernobyl-style meltdown of our attempt at thanking these producers. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll get it right. You pulled an audible on me last second with all this cut and paste of the notes here.
Oh my gosh.
I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you.
I noticed that. I'm not sure why that's your instinct, but okay.
Okay, what am I doing here? I'm trying to fix the chat too at the same time, which is not helpful. Okay, so the note from Lloyd V. Hereby delivered to you Space Force jingle. Let's play the long one here.
Space Force.
Space Force.
Spaceship.
They make their sound, which is kind of like
a spaceship.
Space Force.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I was like, what is this noise I'm making? That's the TIE fighter noise in the Star Wars.
Star Wars. There is a shorter version, so here's the shorter one.
Space Force.
Space Force.
Spaceship.
Space Force.
Once again, Basil's vocal skills proved to be very helpful, and I had a great time listening to Basil's spaceship sound imitation over and over again while making the jingle. Laugh emojis. For listeners who'd like to know, I got both your voices from the second episode, Canary Cry Radio 035.
No, the sound episode.
Oh, sound episode. I'm reading that wrong now. Sound episode 35. Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. That was a good episode. I like that one. That was fun. I hope you like it. God bless Lloyd Fabi, my wifey, and little Aaliyah. All right. So Lloyd V, Fabi, the wife, and little Aaliyah or Aaliyah. What do you think?
I wonder if we are pronouncing that correctly.
I don't know.
Fabi or Fabi or Aaliyah or Aaliyah. Whatever the case may be, thank you very much, Lloyd, our Canary Cry Dutchman, and talented. Is this the first jingle that Lloyd's done? I don't remember.
I feel like
if it is
sent
or not,
one
but it's
before.
It's a very good jingle.
But it is very good. Yeah. Thank you very much. So we'll be using that for a Space Force jingle for sure. Okay. Now we are ready to move on to content production. That is from Rung Smash. Microfiction.
Yep, here it is. Hit that track. Abigail sifts through debris at the dig site. She knows her servos that she'll find proof of higher intelligence in the wreckage of this settlement. She knows the ancients must have been biological computers of some sort, not just scared animals. Ooh.
Okay, first of all.
Yes, Abigail is spelled out in leet speak. For those millennial gamers who've been on the internet for many decades, leet speak has the very confusing yet altogether logical way of spelling things, not just with letters, but also with numbers and sometimes even with punctuation marks. And so Abigail is spelled A61GA17.
I think it's I. Because you see the.
It could be I.
Because the 6-1 is the I.
It's not pure leet speak.
Right.
Leet speak would be 461 G417. But Abigail, some sort of robotic lady
I know this mysterious random Abigail shows up in our microfiction.
We've got a new character on the scene.
Yeah,
but it's some sort of robotic person who realizes that humans were not just scared animals, but some sort of biological computer. What a strange concept.
Interesting. Very good. All right, thank you very much, Runk Smash. Let's do some meetups.
CanaryCry Meetups.
Go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com and find out if there's a meetup happening near you with like-minded people, Canarians out there. If there's not, then go ahead and act. Choose a location, figure out a date and time, make a flyer, and promote it. We'll help you do that. You can contact Ciara, who's one of our most prolific meetup doers. Ciara, almost said Seattle. Ciara does a Zoom meetup online every third Saturday of the month from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific time. You can contact her at ciaralauren93@gmail.com and find out more about how you can attend the Zoom meetups. She's also leading the Washington and Canada Canary Cry Community Meetup at the Peace Arch National Park, March 19th, 2022 at noon. And I think the last we heard, Ciara is looking for people in Canada who want to attend. So if you're in Canada and you want to attend this meetup, definitely contact Ciara and organize. So there is that. Okay, I haven't updated the website yet, but we have a couple meetup. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. We have a San Antonio, Texas meetup coming up February 12th, 2022. That's a Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Currently scheduled to be at Demos Greek Food on North St. Mary Street, but that can change. Contact Dwight B. at bemisdead@yahoo.com and find out more about the San Antonio meetup happening February 12th. That is coming up in a few weeks here. And we have a couple big reports from two of the meetups that took place this weekend. We had the Florida Panhandle meetup, Ye Olde Brothers Brewery, that was led by kmbrown815@gmail.com and Jackie Umfrey at mail.com. And we have a photo from that meetup, and for those watching, you can see the photo, and we have a video of the crew singing "Happy Birthday" to me. I guess I'll play it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I think I'm getting it. Happy birthday, dear Gonz. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah, looked like a good bunch.
It's like an actual birthday party. There's like cupcakes and stuff.
I know.
There's two versions of our heads on sticks floating around. Not only did we show up to the party, but our clones showed up to the party.
Yes.
So that's fun.
Yeah, multiple Basil and Gonz heads
Love
present
it.
at the party.
Love
here.
it.
I'm trying to see if trying to find the email from Jackie Yu here about the meetup. Seeing if there was an actual note attached, because I think there was something.
I believe there was. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Who can do it? The man in the metaverse or the guy who's living in the real world? Was the meetup report actually from Jackie Yu?
I believe so. Pretty sure I saw it was from her. Of course, there's other emails from Jackie Yu.
Yeah,
which makes it a little hard to find.
We need to start copying and pasting these messages. Did we check the Proton mail? Let me check that real quick. Boop, boop, boop. Hacking the mainframe.
So this is fun, huh?
Yeah, this is great, Gonz. This is why we should definitely not prepare these messages in our document, because then people would miss out on this like really fun experience of us live checking our email on the air.
Well,
Here it is. Okay, I got it.
You got it.
Our meetup went great. This is from Jackie Yu. Thank you. Hey, Basil and Gonz. Our meetup went great. A few people canceled, but they're looking to attend future meetups. We all meshed really well together and had a good time. Total was 10 adults and some kids. We plan on doing more meetups. See attached pic and fun video we did for Gonz's B-Day. I think Basil and Gonz cutouts almost outnumber us. Oh, Catherine made multiples in case no one wanted their face to be in the pic. That is an excellent plan
for
our
a good
face
idea.
Cutouts.
Yeah.
Cut them out, put them on sticks. That way, if anybody wants to stay anonymous in pictures, they can hold up one of our heads in front of theirs, and it works out perfectly.
Basil?
Thank you very much, Jackie Yu, and to all of the Florida Panhandle Meetup Goer Tours. We love you.
Yep. Thank you very much. Looked like you guys had a lot of fun. I just wanted to tell you, Basil, I actually cut and pasted the note in the document there.
Did you?
Yeah, so it's there.
Okay, good.
And I actually meant to ask you about this this next one. I didn't know which one was the proper note.
Yeah, we did have multiples come in.
And we're talking about the South Carolina meetup here.
Yeah. I got a note here from JC.
Okay.
We got one from JC and Morv, and I think we can do both of them if we want. So if you want to put up the picture there.
Yep.
First of all, let's comment on this picture of the meetup, which is excellent.
It's had to be photoshopped.
No.
There's no way that there was...
Oh, do you think it is? I don't think so. People are holding sticks.
I know.
I believe...
It's not
first of all, this venue looks really cool. I want to go to this venue. There's like 15, maybe more people here that showed up. Awesome. Good-looking group. But you might notice, dear viewers who are watching the video, there are cutouts of our heads that are absolutely humongous. You need a professional large format printer. Somebody in this group has access to a professional large format printer. These heads of ours are like 3 feet by 4 feet tall, something insane. Yes, it looks like a Photoshop because they're so enormous, but those are real gigantic cutouts. Very fun, really making a splash. You can see in the picture off to the right-hand side, you can see one of the normal patrons just trying to enjoy a meal or something. This woman with the glasses just looking over at this crazy group of people holding up gigantic cutout heads. It's like, ugh, this place used to be so classy, that woman said.
Yeah.
All right, a couple of notes here. I'm probably going to read both of them. We'll see. Oh, this one's from JC and Morv. So I'll do this. Basil and Gonz, I can't put into words what this meetup has done for my faith, for my sanity, and for my outlook and trust on this community that is Canary Cry. I found reassurance that this meetup was necessary and needed for fellow believers to join in fellowship over this particular Christian worldview. I connected and bonded with people much quicker and deeper than I have with the average church member because of the foundation that your content has provided. I've attached a couple photos of the group, although 2 others showed up later. My spirit has been uplifted and renewed. Thank you for promoting this meetup and for fostering this community. I can personally attest to this community being absolutely awesome and unique from every walk of life. The meetup unintentionally lasted from 4:30 in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Because the conversation was too good to stop. Thank you, JC and Morv. Wow, a 5.5 hour meetup.
Hey, it's as long as an episode.
There you go. Yes, you could have almost listened to a whole episode during the meetup. That's really impressive. I've had a couple of those situations where you're meeting up with someone or a group and you're planning on doing like an hour and a half lunch or something, but then it turns into a whole day.
Yeah.
When things are just so, things are vibing, people are meshing, things are clicking. And yes, we've got, let's see, pictured above in no particular order. Okay, we'll do some shout outs here. They are done in no particular order to prevent doxing. We got, so shout out to the people who went to the South Carolina meetup: Jeff, Brenna, Sarah, Morv, Jeremy, Shannon, Dylan, Courtney, Emily, JC, Natalie, Jamila, Jamila, Isaiah, Austin, and Josh. I will say Morv is under both Gonz and Basil cutouts, and I, JC, am standing with my wife, Natalie, to the left of the Basil cutout. Sam and Michael also made it in from Georgia, with Sam's dog, Misty, later, but were missed for the group photo. And all in all, we had 17 people total.
Wow.
Praise God. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Praise God indeed. And I'm going to do a quick note from Morph here.
Okay.
I think. Yep. Feel free. Yeah. Just wanted to forward you our update. Oh, he forwarded us the update that I just read. Okay. But I had an amazing time in fellowship and love. Thank you guys so much, JC and Morv and whoever else was involved in the planning of this thing. You guys nailed it. And everybody who, that's the thing with these meetups is the people who plan it get props, but the people who show up also get props.
Yeah.
I mean, just showing up is adding value to everybody else's there. So everybody who showed up to the South Carolina meetup, good job. Thank you very much. We are with you, obviously, in sort of a giant head type of way. And I think we had some audio from these guys too.
Yeah, this is a little audio mix-up from the South Carolina meetup.
Basil and Gonz, this is JC reporting from the Southern Growl and Grit, South Carolina. Gonna be passing this recorder around to the attendees. I just want to wish Gonz a happy birthday, and we're sorry you're not here, but we're eating extra pimento cheese and fries in your honor.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Gonz.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Gonz. Think outside the cage.
Well, we threw a party for you, and we waited for you, but you didn't show up. So, guess happy birthday anyway, bud. But maybe next time. Gonzo, feliz cumpleaños. Wish you were here, buddy. That's Spanish.
That's Spanish.
Happy birthday.
Just glad to be here.
Everyone's so glad to be here, Gonz and Basil.
This is a guest here, and happy birthday. My name is Isaiah, by the way.
Boom, you heard it here first, folks. Isaiah's wishing Gonz a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Gonz, and Basil, a very merry birthday to you.
The sentiment is held by everyone. We wish Gonz a happy 39th birthday, and thank you for all the advertising for this meetup. It's been a great turnout, and we're looking forward to doing many more. Think outside the cage.
Cool. Wow. Thank you very much, everybody. And yes, we did throw some fun track underneath there, but spice it up a little bit. You guys are the best. And wow, lots of happy birthday wishes for you, Gonz.
Yeah, that was really nice. Thank you, everybody, so much. I will say that I was listening to the audio. We did cut it up a little bit just to kind of shorten it just a tad. And it was funny to me was you can hear the conversations taking place in the background a little bit, because I think JC here was walking around trying to get everybody to say something, and you can hear the conversations in the background. I isolated part of a background conversation from the audio clip. Okay. You ready?
Do it again. Somebody's doing this. He's a Satanist jingle.
He's a Satanist in the background in a conversation. That was my favorite part.
That is hilarious.
Beyond all the thank yous and the birthday wishes, I appreciate all that. But I think that was the most amusing thing was hearing them. And it wasn't once; it was like 2 or 3 times. So whatever the conversation was had to do with Satanists.
Yeah. Well, very fun. You guys nailed it. Thank you, South Carolina meetup. I'll never call you South California again.
Oh, yeah. How dare you?
And yeah, I hope we hear more from this group. They're talking about doing it quarterly. Who is the other group talking about doing it quarterly? Was that the Northern Idaho?
Coeur d'Alene, yeah.
Coeur d'Alene, was that the other quarterly one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Well, start planning it, folks, so we can start pushing it out to the people. And good. Is that all of our meetup info?
I think that is it. Let me double check. I have to update the website here. But, yep, I think that's all the stuff that's going on right now with the meetups.
Okay, wonderful. Go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Look for one near you. If there's not one near you, you can put one on yourself. It's easy. Just pick a place, pick a time, and let us know about it, and we'll tell the world. And who knows? There's Canarians all over the place. You could meet a whole big group of them, or even just a couple. You know, these meetups, they happen in all different shapes and sizes. But we do know that planning ahead of time is a great way to get as many people as you can. So CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Remember, go there. You can print out our heads, put them on sticks. All sorts of fun stuff happening there. Yep. See you at the meetup.
The resolution of our heads must have been pristine.
That's what I'm saying. This is a professional large format printer. Is
it one piece, or they had to have printed it out?
No, they don't have to. Well, I know the story. The story is, yes, somebody has access to a professional large format printer.
That makes me feel better. I hope they didn't have to shell out a whole bunch of money. So where do these things go after the meetup, you know?
They've become property of the producers. They can do whatever they want. They could do their own show with two giant Basil and Gonz heads.
Perfect.
Okay. There we go. The next big meetup, I think, I don't want to not mention any of the big meetups, but the San Antonio promises to be a blast too. So if you're a Texas person, go to Canary Cry Meetups, check out the San Antonio meetup, which I believe is, against all odds, the first Texas meetup.
Yeah, pretty wild. February 12th is that one. Okay, you ready to wake up?
I'm up. I'm up. I'm ready. I'm up.
Okay, whatever.
Yes,
come on,
it's
come on.
wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
I thought this was an interesting story because I feel that it explains some of how the faith can be abused. And it comes from, I believe, The Guardian here. And the headline is Christ and Cocaine. Rio's gangs of God blend faith and violence. And there was a period where I studied gang culture, gang violence in college from like a sociological.
Your sociology
my
stuff.
Sociology stuff. Yeah. So we had to look at, the justice system, but more so like the prison system, especially gangs, how they operate. And, one of the biggest gang kingpins operated from prison for like 20 years or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The whole thing is just so corrupt.
The MS-13 guy or something like that?
I don't remember all the details, but yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
But here it says, let's start with the quote. Quote, Pastor, do you think we could hold a service at my house next Thursday? The peroxide-haired gangster wondered, cradling an AK-47 in his lap as he took a seat beside the man of God. A few months earlier, the 23-year-old had bought his first home with the fruits of his illegal work as a foot soldier for one of Rio de Janeiro's drug factions. Now he wanted to give thanks for the blessings he believed he had received from above. You got something to say?
I forgot something in the break. It's okay. We'll do it at the end.
Okay. Quote, I've dodged death so many times. It was he, capital He, as in God, who delivered me from evil. The drug trafficker reflected as he began another 12-hour night shift on the front line of the Brazilian city's drug conflict. That Christian conviction was echoed all around the young outlaw on walls adorned with frescoes of the old city of Jerusalem and an extract from the epistles to the Galatians. Quote, walk by the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. The gangster's body celebrated his religion too. One wrist carried a tattoo of a cross and the words, Jesus lives. The other featured the motto, quote, may my courage be greater than my fear and my strength as great as my faith. Quote, they know theirs is a cutthroat world, so they seek something to believe in, said Elias Santana, a favela-based preacher who has made it his mission to save the souls of Rio's ever more evangelical gangsters. When Rio's drug conflict exploded in the 1980s, Brazil's evangelical revolution was still gathering pace, and many gangsters looked to Afro-Brazilian deities such as Ogum, the god of war, for protection. Drug bosses frequented Afro-Brazilian temples, built shrines to Orixás. Am I saying that right? Orixás. And wore necklaces to show their devotion to the Umbanda and Candomblé faiths. 4 decades later, many of those sanctuaries have been replaced with sculptures of Bibles and murals of the Last Supper as a new generation of born-again criminals takes power. Born-again criminals. Mm-hmm. Influenced by a brotherhood of Pentecostal preachers. Oh, those Pentecostals. The sway those pastors hold over Rio's so-called narco-Pentecostals.
Whoa.
That's a gnarly name for a group.
Interesting.
Narco-Pentecostals is unmissable in the hundreds of favelas controlled by gunmen from its 3 main gangs, the Red Command, CV, the Friends of the Friends, ADA, and perhaps the most evangelical of all, the Pure Third Command, TCP. Drug lords, some regular churchgoers, have incorporated Christian symbols into their ultra-violent trade. Packets of cocaine, handguns, and uniforms are emblazoned with the Star of David, a reference to the Pentecostal belief that the return of Jews to Israel represents progress towards the second coming. Uh-huh. For those people who...
Interesting they label that a Pentecostal belief.
The few different interesting things happening here in this article when it comes to describing what people believe and the symbols that represent those beliefs. Namely with this, because, Star of David, there's a lot of history there. Anybody who's watched the Facelikethesun channel knows about some of the videos that I've made on that. Gets me into trouble, but just sharing research. On one recent evening, a senior trafficker wandered into a service in suburban Rio, unarmed and unannounced, as a preacher read from the book of John. Quote, "I have come into the world as a light so that no one who believes in me should stay in darkness." Surrounded by local children and their smartly dressed parents, the gangster took a white plastic chair in the corner, bowed his head, and began to pray. Nowhere is the evangelization of Rio's underworld more visible than the Complexo de Israel, a cluster of 5 favelas near the international airport governed by, Pejao, Big Fish, a preacher turned drug peddler who takes his nickname from the Ichthys Jesus fish. The drug lord's second in command is named after the Judean prophet Jeremiah, while their troops are known as the Army of the Living God. In tribute to the area's boss, a mural of the cartoon character Fishtronaut has been painted at one entrance, framed by a line from Psalm 33.
Fishtronaut. That's fun.
Blessed
like
is the nation.
Astronaut, but a fish?
Yeah. From Psalm 33, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." A neon Star of David at night, visible for miles, sits on a water tower at one of the complex's highest points. Nearby, on an outcrop looking south toward Rio's Christ the Redeemer statue, a Bible sits in a display case. Quote, "Rescue me, O Lord, from evil men," reads its inscription from Psalm 140. "Protect me from men of violence who devise evil plans in their hearts and stir up war every day." Police call Pejao, I think it's Pejao, who is wanted for dozens of crimes, including torture, murder, and concealment of death, one of Rio's most ambitious and iron-handed villains, whose fast-growing criminal empire makes a mockery of his purported Christian faith. In 2019, he was accused of leading the Bondi de Jesus, or Jesus crew, a gang of rifle-toting extremists who allegedly ransacked a succession of Afro-Brazilian temples. Afro-Brazilian celebrations have reportedly been outlawed in the complex of Israel. It's interesting. It's kind of like the modern Crusades, the way they're describing this thing.
Yeah.
But some residents...
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
This thing is pretty long.
It is long. We don't have to read the whole thing. But
well, I'm just wondering, was there They're doing just sort of like a lot of description.
Yeah. So we don't have to read the whole thing. I think the interesting thing about this is the criminalization of the, I guess you can call it like the commercial Christian faith, if you will. And, it's been known. Didn't the CIA send quote unquote Bibles to all over Africa, but it wasn't really Bibles. It was other things, weapons, other things to...
It's through the NGO process. You hear about a lot of these NGOs, these non-governmental organizations that are more or less charitable organizations, but a lot of them are sort of not fake organizations. They're real organizations and do some stuff, but they are tools of the intelligence agencies to do other things, like bring in Bibles filled with whatever. Right. I remember the story you're thinking about. I can't remember what it was.
Or something.
It was something
I'm trying
like
to find
that.
It. Yeah.
Which, just on a side note, makes it interesting that the Afghanistan debacle drone strike that was supposed to kill a terrorist but killed an NGO worker. It was something I didn't bring up at the time, but the fact that these NGOs are very tied in with the intelligence agencies makes it a little suspect.
Very suspect. The whole thing is very suspect.
But that's off topic. So
So I just thought it was interesting, and part of the depiction of this I've seen in a lot of shows, and I don't watch that many anymore. But I remember there is a show called Ozark, and the whole show is about this American family that gets kind of wrangled up into South American drug trafficking.
Ozark. I liked Ozark.
And a lot of it is very violent, very adult theme. But a lot of that had to do with these gangsters having or displaying some kind of faith. They talk about God. They talk about all this kind of stuff. It's just interesting how that works. That they would use Christianity in particular as the vehicle for this type of behavior.
Yeah. Well, South America, obviously being a pretty heavily Christianized area of the world, both through Protestant and Catholic missions over hundreds of years. But there's some interesting stuff further on in the article here, if I can just try to pick it out without getting too lost in the muck. Christina Vital, an academic who has spent nearly 30 years studying evangelism's advance into gangland Rio, said it was inevitable traffickers had embraced Christianity. Even the breathtaking evangelical tsunami that has swept over Brazilian society during that time. Evangelicals now occupied key positions in the world of crime, just as they did in media, politics, judiciary, and culture, she said. Nor was it surprising that vulnerable, marginalized young men sought guidance and compassion from the preachers searching Rio's favelas for souls. Quote, "It's such an awful, fragile life, they live in fear." Vital said the consequences of the improbable fusion between crime and Christianity were unclear. There was evidence of a certain containment of bloodshed, she said, but the blending of religious intolerance with staggering gang violence was disturbing. Pastor Elias said he respected all faiths and believed his godly crusade was helping pacify a city where hundreds of mostly young black lives are lost each year. This is Christianity's duty to save. A week after being invited to bless the foot soldier's first home, the preacher donned a garish magenta shirt and set off down winding, muddy passageways to the modest first-floor abode for which the criminal had paid 1,000 pounds. He squeezed inside, accompanied by a half a dozen Bible-carrying helpers, and a group began to sing an anthem called "Oh, Jesus Loves Me." Anthem, they call it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Far from the Lord, I walked on the path of horror. Never did I ask about Jesus, nor did I seek his love, they sang as the gangster bowed his head. When the singing stopped, a female church member stepped forward and clutched the host's arms as his girlfriend and mother, a cleaner just home from work, looked on. Quote, "God has chosen you. God is here right now," the woman told him. "Just look at my goosebumps. God is here," she proclaimed. her voice trembling as she summoned an angel to watch over the trafficker's life. After 20 minutes of prayer and reading from Psalm 23, the trafficker thanked his visitors over hot dogs and led them outside, visibly moved by their words. Quote, "It's a life of loneliness," said the pastor, "and Christ has come to free them from this servitude. A warm breeze coursed through the favela's narrow back, blah, blah, blah." Sorry, meow, meow, meow. So, if you are a preacher who happens to be in, where is this, Rio? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rio, living amongst the people. And of course, as a pastor, you feel it's your duty to save souls and reach out, especially to those who are in most need of Jesus's love. Like the idea of a preacher or a pastor evangelizing gang members is not unusual to me.
Yeah.
I don't, that's
there's a lot of ministries that do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty noble goal, especially if it's, in your community, your young men are getting wrapped up in this stuff. It's an obvious mission to sort of focus on helping the spiritual lives of young gang members. Of course, in the hopes that this would sort of curb the gang activity or the gang, the affiliation. But what we're reading here is it seems like, a lot of these gang members are getting saved and continuing this sort of life of crime, which is not necessarily the best outcome or the outcome that the preacher might be shooting for. Because at the beginning of this article, it kind of sounded like the pastors were like, part of the gang. Yeah. Like it was being used as some sort of control mechanism to help the, maybe the consciousnesses or the consciences rather of the gang members to be able to, more easily be gang members or something. But further down, it seems like it's just a result of like some very passionate, hardworking evangelists. But yeah, still not great that now the gang activity is still going strong now, just with sort of a Christian branding on it.
Well, it's with a Christian superstition. It's not even, like true to the faith. It's more like, this is my, my superstition or my lucky charm or whatever, kind of thing.
No, you make a great point. And that is a great distinction to make between sort of an actual Christian faith, which follows the teachings of Christ, and using Christian superstition as a sort of spiritual tool for things. Like that's where Catholics get a lot of their criticism from just even mainstream, evangelical Christianity, is that, if you wear a pendant that has, St. Peter on it, then you will be safe, is the type of Christian superstition that can be problematic, especially if not paired with, earnest, authentic following of the teachings of Jesus.
Right. Oh, and this type of thing it's been around for a while. I just pulled up, I found an old article from 2010 here from the Daily Mail, and the headline is "Shot in the Foot, Propaganda Fear as Our Troops in Afghanistan Are Given U.S. Guns Carrying Secret Bible Codes." And basically, it's just about a set of weapons that went to Afghanistan that had like etchings of Bible verses on it. And it says here, critics said references to New Testament scriptures could be used by extremists to persuade Afghans that UK forces see their work as a crusade.
Interesting.
It's always that kind of extreme, violent crusade. And that's why I said this whole thing in Rio sounds like the modern crusade program here. They did it
could be
in Rome, similar, not exactly, obviously, with different time now.
Well, and keeping in mind that oftentimes these really powerful cartels, especially drug cartels, are working in a lot of cases, or are at least allied with governments
and central intelligence too. I mean, that's a lot of what
hoping to destabilize a region.
Right.
I mean, that's part of how you destabilize a region. Your intelligence guys go in, they kind of make a deal with the gangs, they arm the gangs. That helps destabilize the region, which creates a situation where you can facilitate some sort of overthrow of the government or change in regime that is beneficial to whatever the CIA's sort of goals are. I mean, it's a classic strategy. It happens all the time.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, so you could see how that might be a part of it, you know. And what's one way to lessen the sort of local social problem of gang activity is, hey, they're fighting for the Lord. They're on behalf of the Lord. They're, a lot of these gangs, they at least try to position themselves as fighting on behalf of the people against, against
the oppressive authoritarians, usually the government.
The Robin Hood thing, you know, a lot of these gangs try to put on a Robin Hood type of a facade, and looking at, or earnestly believing in sort of this Christian looking thing is a really good way to get more support from the public against your enemies in the government. There's a lot going on here.
It really does feed the vigilante mindset, I guess. If you have the right principles in place, or at least the perceived right principles being preached. You know?
Well, it's
even though they're turning around and shooting people in the head if they don't comply or whatever. But other than that, preach love.
Well, it's the criticism that atheists can sometimes rightfully level against many religious people, is that it's either sort of an internal forgiveness mechanism that's allowing you to commit things that you wouldn't otherwise because you have some sort of relationship that you can make right afterwards for your eternal soul, or or in addition, or the control mechanism aspect of organized religion,
making you do things that are from the perspective of
or just
alleged.
Or controlling the worldview. If your pastor, if you trust your pastor implicitly, and you really only have, that's why it works in third world countries so well, is because these gang members aren't on the internet, on Christian forums, talking to other Christians, learning from other Christian leaders. It's usually just their local guy, and whatever the local guy says goes. And so if you have a local pastor who is teaching you about Jesus, and perhaps that local pastor is on the gang payroll, and so his theology is sort of being taught as a way to justify gang activity, it is a control mechanism in that way, insofar as it does not line up with the actual teachings of Jesus and teaches exactly what needs to be taught to facilitate more effective gang activity, no more and no less.
Right. I wonder what they consider manna. They probably make that analogy. We have to get more manna. You mean cocaine?
Heroin. Yeah. Well, it's very sad that this happens, but it is something that happens all around the world, and I'm not quite sure what to do about it.
Well, we can keep praying for those people there.
Yeah, dangerous place to be for sure.
Yeah,
and in a hopeless place to be. Living in these favelas. I mean, is stricken with poverty, violence, danger, especially for a young man. Oftentimes, the only choice is to join a gang, not just for safety, but also for economics. There's no jobs, there's no nothing. It's like, oh well, we can either starve or I can join this gang. And if this gang has a pastor where, maybe my abuela doesn't like it that I'm in a gang, but at least I can tell her that I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
And take it from there.
We don't talk about Bruno. Also, one last thing here.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold.
Antarctica, go first.
Snowstorm.
Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
This is Nature World News. And the headline, for the first time, nanoplastic particles have contaminated decades-old polar ice.
Whoa.
More contamination of Antarctica. It's been a theme. There's a theme.
The shimmer is growing.
It says here, members of the Ice Memory Project extract an ice core piece out of a drill machine on August 25th, 2016, in their camp at the Col du Dorme Glacier as part of the Ice Memory Project near the Mont Blanc Peak in Chamonix, eastern France. 2 ice cores of more than 120 meters were extracted before being preserved in Antarctica as part of an operation to save the memory, quote-unquote, of ice threatened by global warming. A team of scientists studying the ice cores from Greenland and Antarctica have identified some types of nanoplastic particles, including particles from tires, in decades-old polar ice. As per the international team, sea ice cores in the polar regions are contaminated with more nanoparticle pollution than thought. You know, I feel like this is setting up for a really, really interesting nanoscan of the entire world as part of the climate change initiative.
So what is the message here? That pollution has been in Antarctica for decades?
We are horrible people. We pollute. Even the purest of ice is contaminated with nanoparticles of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
We're awful. We're awful humans. We must scan not just this important piece of ice for ice memory, but eventually we need to scan the whole world. You know, just to make sure that you guys aren't.
That is kind of a funny angle with the Antarctica thing. And Antarctica is being polluted. There's not like a whole lot of stuff to pollute down there. I mean, I guess we're learning more and more that there's a lot of animals in Antarctica, actually. I guess penguins are down there and ice fish.
It's just weird how they freak out when there's some kind of contamination or like some kind of foreign thing, because they act like the region has never been explored by anyone ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like the first time there's like a genetic molecular thing that we have to preserve here, this delicate balance,
right?
And
it feels like it's a very effective messaging because it's so removed.
Yeah,
you know, it's
that's
that
true
thing
too,
where if we can tell you that something is going wrong, but it's so far away that you couldn't necessarily understand the effects, then you're just sort of open to whatever we tell you.
And that's why I think all Antarctica news is interesting and has been interesting, especially the last, few months. Seems like they've been ramping up something. I mean, there's a high strangeness from Antarctica, or has been for a long time. So I'm not saying that and the conversations haven't taken place, but
talking about this nanoplastics issue, I mean, this nanoplastics issue is a big issue. This isn't even necessarily like a global warming thing. This is little pieces of plastic from our trash and stuff gets broken down in the ocean into tiny little pieces. Fish eat it, shrimp eat it, and then everything eats it. And the plastic, has all the weird hormonal effects that it does.
Yeah, the rise in certain gender identity issues and things.
There's a lot of talk
nature.
about that. Yeah, the estrogen creating hormonal issues and microplastics in the food chain, and it could start from, the little sea life and work its way all the way to human beings. So the microplastics thing is really a problem. And it seems like in this article, they're just saying like, yes, it is a much bigger problem than we possibly could have imagined, because this plastic is not just, in our fish, but it's in our ice. And there's nothing we can do about it.
Things are supposed to be pure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, that is, again, the sort of messaging to this, the whether it's subtle or whatever, we don't, we can say it is or it isn't. But Antarctica is sort of portrayed at this pure place, untouched by man.
It's so strange how they keep. Yeah, it's like this. And
even the
preserved.
ice, like within the ice, is a time capsule, perfectly preserved history of the Earth and things like that. It's got this very pure PR to it, and so to come out and say, "Oh, the nanoparticles, the nanoplastics are now in the purest place on Earth," really does add a bit of urgency to the nanoplastics issue.
Yeah, but also, again, I think the ultimate sort of goal of and part of, I think, prophetically, biblically, and the full spectrum dominance thing is monitoring every single particle in the universe. Now, that's kind of the idea of the technological singularity and all this kind of stuff is predicated.
The technocratic dream. For full data dominance.
Right. It's predicated on monitoring and then perhaps manipulating every single particle that exists in the world and having some kind of purposeful computing mechanism to control it or whatever. But, that's all very nebulous in terms of, what they are, where they're at currently. The nanoplastics topic in the context of climate change brings that urgency, but also allows for surveillance of nanoparticles. What kind
justification?
Of justification for more nano-level surveillance of
technocratic
everywhere.
Technocratic panopticon in the name of ecology.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing places, I don't know, buildings, rooms, maybe, where it's that highly controlled, highly monitored, highly surveilled to the particle level type of thing, where you can have nanobots in there and you'll know right away because, the environment. And as nanotechnology progresses, that kind of stuff will be capable. But I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's definitely the technocratic dream. But, we don't want to miss the most important thing, which is when we're talking about the deleterious hormonal effects of these microplastics on living beings, we have no idea what the ramifications will be of these Antarctican nanoplastics on the Nephilim penguins. I mean, this could become a huge problem. As we all know, the Nephilim penguins are generally considered to be some sort of masculine form. We're not going to quite call them male, but they take some sort of masculine form. And if these Nephilim penguins start feminizing through the hormonal problems with the nanoplastics, we don't know what kind of effect this will happen on the Great Penguin Wars. This is just something that I'm totally out of my depth to be able to predict the worldwide ramifications of. This could possibly turn the tide on the Nazi Antarctic base / Nephilim penguin conflicts that have been raging for decades.
Yeah.
And if this turns the tide, we might have some bigger problems.
Well, it's going to fork the population of the Nephilim penguins. There will be some who learn to embrace the powers of the nanoplastics and enhance themselves and the world around them. And then there will be those who cannot keep up. And they will be part of the extermination. And that will be the Great War. But also, the ones who do control will take those dead penguins and resurrect them as mummies. And that's where the mummy penguins come from.
Yeah, well, and much like Jurassic Park, where the problem was that they claimed to make all-female dinosaurs, but the amphibious DNA allowed them to, change genders in order to, find a way, as we're told.
Science is truth.
We all know that the Nephilim penguins are unable to breed in a traditional sort of terrestrial manner. But if the classically masculine Nephilim penguins are able to shift a portion of their species, the reproductive rates could really get out of control.
dater.
Good dater.
And that's just science, folks.
Nephilim update.
Somehow this Antarctica story has turned into a Nephilim update, but it was
Don't
still
they
in
all?
Antarctica.
Don't they all, though?
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Penguins.
Wow. New listeners to the show. I have a hard time believing that new listeners make it through the whole show very often. Maybe they do, in which case I'm very proud of them. But if they missed some previous Antarctica updates, there's a lot of catching up to do.
There's a lot of dots not connecting.
Yeah, it's a very special community that makes it all the way to the end of the episodes like this. And we don't want new listeners to feel alienated. So someday we'll put together a catalog. You know what? Because we're working on the Canary Cry Clips channel. Might have a special playlist of all the Antarctica. Okay, this is a great resource, folks. If you haven't done it yet, go follow Canary Cry Clips on YouTube. We're clipping out the show in these segments, and we'll be able to make playlists. So if you don't understand a certain piece of nonsense we talk about, such as Nephilim penguins, you'll be able to find the Antarctica playlist on Canary Cry Clips. You can listen to all the Antarctica segments, and you will get caught up on the Nephilim penguins real quick. Just another piece of value being brought to you by Canary Cry News Talk. And that's why I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We'll be back on Wednesday. That'll be Wednesday, the 26th of January.
Wow, we're almost through with January, huh? 2022.
1/12
it's
of the way.
It's almost 2022.
Yeah, dog. It's crazy.
Whoa.
And if you're out there and you have yet to follow Canary Cry Clips on YouTube, Gonz is going to put the link into the chat here. If you could go listen to it, go follow, like, and subscribe Canary Cry Clips. That would just be splendid. It's where we're going to clip out all the segments of the show, so you'll have nice bite-sized, shorter versions of the segments for going back, doing research, and sharing the show in a format that is a little bit more palatable to just the general audience and people maybe you want to share the show with. So just making it easier to get your Canary Cry fix. Canary Cry Clips. Please go follow it now. I think we were at 181 followers last I checked. Let me check now. Oh, we're up to 185 followers. So there you go. Let's see if we can get that sucker up to 200 by the end of the day. That would just be wonderful.
That's a huge leap.
And go through and just like all the videos while you're there, if you could. Get those algorithms cruising.
Do it.
Yeah, so come back on Wednesday for the next episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Remember, you can produce that show if you get any value out of what we do here on the show, whether it's, serious news, corporate news media analysis, if we're keeping you apprised of international situations that maybe you're not getting the details on in your regular life, or perhaps if we're just for the first time, letting you know about the dangers and importance of the Nephilim penguin wars down in Antarctica. Whatever the case may be, if you get any value out of the show, please consider becoming a producer. And you can produce the show in many ways. First of all, you can produce the show with your treasure by heading on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. That's right, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. An awesome place to support the show. Like I said, if you're a crypto kid or whatever, you can do a monthly producership or a one-time producership, whatever it's been. Perhaps you've been listening to the show for months or maybe even years, and you've been thinking about getting demooched. Well, next episode, Wednesday, is a great time to get demooched by supporting the show for the first time. Also, consider joining the Canary Cry Supply Drop. It's awesome. You're going to get all sorts of fun free gifts for supporting the show at $33.33 a month. and it's a super special, crowd to be in. If you went to a meetup, think of how cool it would be to go to the next meetup with your, Canary Cry pins, your Canary Cry sticker on your car, your Canary Cry hat. Maybe we'll reproduce some sort of Gonz prayer hat for the supply drop. We don't know. We're figuring it out as we go. And we've got some very special Canary Cry ARG augmented reality game stuff. Not augmented reality in the current fashion with VR headsets or whatever, but some fun games that are being sent to the Canary Cry supply droppers. So consider supporting the show. You can support the show and get cool stuff at CanaryCry.Supply.com. But I do want to thank the producers of this episode, 437, starting with our executive producer, Anonymous. Thank you very much. Our supply droppers, Catherine D., Matthew S., and Child of God, and the rest of our producers, again, starting with Child of God, Austin A., Christian N., Palmer B., Morv, JC, Heather Sarush, Sean S., Josh M., Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, Sir Salmon's Knight of the Fishes, Jimmy R., Jackie U., Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Gail M., Veronica D., Runk Smash, and Amanda P. And of course, thank you to our timestampers, audio producers, and artists or art producers. There's all sorts of ways to help the show out, produce the show. If you're a creative person, you can create arts, you can create jingles, you can create full-length songs that you'll be hearing on the Canary Cry mixtape after the show. Whatever you do, whatever your creative little mind can do, create something for the show, send it in to canarycrynewstalk@gmail.com. No, that's not it. It's canarycryradio@gmail.com and or canarycryradio@protonmail.com. And we'd love to feature it on the show. Dun, dun, dun. But if you want to give of your time, there's ways to get involved. Join the production family here. If you have some time on your hands and you want to get involved in some of the back end stuff, help us with some projects or whatever, just send us an email as well. We'd love to get you involved. And we have plenty of projects and, just general stuff that you could help us out with. And our back end producers are extremely valuable to our process here. So there you go. All sorts of ways to join the team. Do that. Send us an email, whatever the case may be. Other than that, share the show. You can share the episode, the full episode, share the link, text it to a friend, whatever. Or you can head on over to Canary Cry Clips. That's right, Canary Cry Clips. Find one of your favorite smaller segments of the show and send that to a friend. Maybe you have a friend who's especially interested in AI. Well, we've got, the AI segment clipped out. Maybe they're interested in, what else we got here? Antarctica. We'll have some Antarctica playlist clips set up. Whatever the case may be, find something interesting over there at Canary Cry Clips and share it with the world. It's a great way not only to help other people wake up to the fact that the world is not what it seems, but also for them to find the show and appreciate what we do here. And it's all because of you. But you don't have to do it that way. There's all sorts of ways you can produce or share the show that aren't in the sort of normal way. Some people like to take pictures of canaries and edit go-go boots on them. Some people like to, get a super yacht and crash it into the ice wall. But there's there's more creative ways you can do that. For instance, you can head on down to Rio. Rio's not the safest place in the world. Of course, we've heard about the gangs, and of course, we've heard about the gang pastors and the sort of evangelical bent that the gang members have taken on in order to help them, I don't know, psychologically or spiritually as they do their work. But who's not getting as much evangelism
Tell us.
As they probably need? You want to know, Gonz? Are you just itching to know exactly who it is?
Itching.
It's Antarctica scientists. You know, where's the article about the Antarctica scientists? We hear so much about them. They struggle. They're very much like the Rio gangland, where, you know, these young scientists, they're very impressionable. These scientists, they're not making a lot of money. They're just struggling in the world of academia and college. And, you know, they don't want to be the Antarctic scientists, but they see no other choice. It's the only option for them in this very limited world of Antarctic science. They're just they're stuck in a cycle, an oppressive cycle of drilling for ice, drilling the ice, looking at the particles, drilling the ice, looking at the particles, committing crimes, dealing drugs, doing murders, all sorts of bad stuff down there in Antarctica, and nobody's talking about it. And you know what? Antarctic scientists need Jesus too. So get yourself a big old parka, book yourself a flight down to Argentina, and then you'll need to get a boat ride over to Antarctica and become the wandering Antarctic preacher. And you may think it may be hard, it may be cold, it may be hungry down there. You'll have to avoid the dangers of the Nephilim penguins and the secret Antarctic Nazi bases, but you're doing it to bring the good word of our Lord Jesus Christ to these scientists who are locked in little domes in the ice, with no hope. And you can share the word with them, and hopefully Jesus will be let into their hearts, and you can save their souls. And unlike many of the gang preachers in Rio, you can show them the way, that there is a right way to do Antarctic science, and then there is a wrong way to do Antarctic science. There's a way to drill ice cores that bring glory to the Lord, and there is ways to drill ice cores in Antarctica that do not please the Lord, and they should know the difference. And then that way, when we get all this reporting from the Antarctic scientists talking about how dangerous it is down there, then finally we can hear the good word of some good Christian Antarctic scientists being proclaimed on the mainstream news, telling us about nanoparticles. That's just one way you could do it. You don't have to do it that way. But if you want to, that is one option. If you need any more instructions, we call it rattling cages, and you just walk right up to him, you grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gonz, any last words?
Thank you very much for listening to another episode. Have a blessed Tuesday.
Indeed. Go do it. Indeed. Have a blessed Tuesday. And remember, you can go to Canary Cry Bingo, get your brand new bingo card. I forgot the thing. Okay, we'll make up for it next week.
What's the thing?
No, it's a break thing. We'll have to do it next time. We forgot a producer.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, so it's okay. We'll give double credit next episode. Sorry about that, producer. We forgot. But yeah, CanaryCry.Bingo.com. Go join the latest craze in podcast-based bingo games. And of course, Canary Cry Street Team. Print out some flyers, hang them up in your community, and go listen to Ravel. We just did an episode on matriarchy, biblical matriarchy. What? That's right, pushing the boundaries, folks. All your mamas and your papas, but especially the mamas. That episode's for you. Search for Ravel on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We're the good one, not the bad one. You'll figure it out. Okay, other than that, thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
shake things up, shake things up. I wanna shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I wanna stir up some controversy. I wanna rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced a 3 G's of force from the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes. Do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
Previous anchor.
We have Basil. He's a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything. Wives in space, children in the cosmos, with your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
We are headed to space.
Previous anchor.
The sons of Noah came to their father and told him of demons which were leading astray his grandchildren. And so Noah prayed before the Lord, and he said, God of mercy, who has saved me and my sons from the waters of the flood, who has not caused me to perish, as you did the sons of perdition. Your grace has been great towards me. Let also your grace be upon my sons. Do not let wicked spirits rule over them, lest they should destroy them from the earth. For you know the watchers, the fathers of these spirits, and their actions before the flood. But as for these spirits, imprison them, Lord, in the place of condemnation. Let them not have power over the sons of the righteous, from henceforth and forevermore. So the Lord God sent his host to bind the spirits. The chief of these spirits came, and he said, Lord, Creator, let some remain before me, and let them hearken to my voice. For if none are left to me, I shall not be able to execute the power of my will. Great is the wickedness of the sons of men. And the Lord God said, let 1/10 of them remain, as the others descend into the place of condemnation. The Lord's host did all according to his works. All the malignant evil ones were bound in the face of condemnation, and 1/10 part of them were left to be subject before Satan on the earth. After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. All the days of Noah's life were 950 years, and he died. The sons of Ham were Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. And Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first on earth to become a mighty man. He was a great hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From that land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh and many other fortified cities. Now the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, Come, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone and slime for mortar. And they said, Come, let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach into heaven. And let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered upon the earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men had built. And the Lord said, Behold, they are all one people, and they have one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do. and now nothing they imagine will be restrained from them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them upon the face of all the earth, and they did not finish building the city nor the tower. Therefore, the name of it is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth, and from there he scattered them across the face of all the earth. The sons of Noah began to war on each other, to take captives and to shed blood on the earth. As they began to build strong cities and walls, individuals began to exalt themselves above the nations and to establish kingdoms. All the people began to do evil, to acquire arms and to teach their sons war. They made for themselves molten images and they worshipped them. They began to craft idols, and malignant spirits seduced them into transgression. The adversary exerted himself to do all of this, and he sent forth other spirits, those which were put under his hand, to corrupt and destroy. Now, in the 10th generation from Noah, Abram was born, and as a child he began to understand the errors of the earth. At 14 years old, he separated himself from his father, that he might not worship idols with him, and he began to pray to the Creator of all things, that he might save him from the errors of men, and that his life should not fall into sin. Abram came to Terah his father, saying, Father, what help and profit have you from those idols which you worship and bow yourself before? There is no spirit in them. They are misleading to the heart. Do not worship them. Worship the God of heaven, who does everything upon the earth, who has created everything by his word. All life is from before his face. For these gods are the work of men's hands. You bear them on your shoulders, and yet there is no help from them. Abram's father said to him, I also know it, my son, but what shall I do with a people who have made me to serve before them? And if I tell them the truth, they will kill me. For their soul cleaves to them, to worship them and honor them. Keep silent, my son, lest they come against you. And Abram spoke also to his two brothers, and they grew angry with him, so he kept silent. Abram took to himself a wife, and her name was Sarai. And Haran and Nahor, his brothers, took wives also. And Haran's wife bare him a son, and he called his name Lot. In the 60th year of the life of Abram, he arose by night, and set fire to the house of the idols. He burned all that was in the house, and no man knew it. They arose in the night to save their gods from the midst of the fire, and Haran ran ahead of them, but the fire flamed over him, and he was consumed. He died in Ur of the Chaldees before Terah his father, and they buried him there. Now the Lord said to Abram, Go from your country and from your kindred, go to the land that I will show you, and I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So Abram went as the Lord had told him, and he took Lot with him. Abram was 75 years old when he departed, and Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and all the people that had followed them, and they set out to go to the land of Canaan.
I'll keep you warm and safe, and my people too.
Congratulations, you are being rescued. Please do not resist.
I'm a straight aim now. Don't need no laser guide. I'm a straight aim now. I'm a trained sniper. Don't need no GPS. I'm a trained sniper. I'm a good shot now. Don't need no infrared. I'm a good shot now. Blood running down my vest. 20 in the posse, and they're never gonna let me rest. I'm a straight aim now. Don't need no laser guide. I'm a straight aim now. I'm a trained sniper. Don't need no GPS. I'm a trained sniper. I'm a good shot now. Don't need no infrared. I'm a good shot now.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
It's Corona time.
COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19.
COVID-19.
COVID-19, 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 come down. COVID-19, 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 COVID-19,
Thank you, Jesus. Crawl on your belly. Standing in the office of the prophet of God in the Garden of Eden. I execute judgment on you, COVID-19. I execute judgment on you, Satan, you destroyer, you killer. You get out. We break your power. You get off this nation. I demand judgment on you. I demand a vaccination to come immediately. I call you done. No more. Yes. I call you gone. You come down.
What are we gonna do? Burn! This is the way. This is the way.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Pay them more. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake. We're all gonna die.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths.